Hello and welcome to Overwatch University League Makeup Week. I'm Pimp in the Crib, and joining me today is Lobasco and Thenlar. How are you doing, Lobasco?
Doing pretty good. How you doing, Pimp?
I'm doing great, and Thenlar, how are you?
I'm really excited to see some Overwatch action.
Yeah, me too. This is the last regular season week. It's a Makeup Week, so anyone who doesn't know what Makeup Week is, Makeup Week is if any games didn't happen during like the first 5 weeks of the season, teams can reschedule to the Makeup Week. It's a whole nother week before the playoffs. It also gives teams like a week if they did play all the games, kind of like a little break before playoffs. Just sometimes teams like breaks. It's always good to rest up or something. Um, so anyway, for our first match, we're gonna be having Blank versus Clout Gang from Division 3C. Now, this is a pretty big matchup between these teams because both of these teams are 4-0 in their division, both undefeated. This was a week 1 game that they rescheduled all the way to the makeup week. Just so happened both teams just got undefeated. So it's going to be a real big tiebreaker. If they tie the game, then I believe Clout Gang will win the tiebreaker. Yeah, the Clout Gang will win the tiebreaker if they get a tie during the series, because Clout Gang will win on map wins percentages. So it's really gonna it's gonna decide who gets the first seed from Division 3C.
It's funny how it ends up being like this week now.
Yeah,
when it happens when it's supposed
and
to be
and
week
there's a lot
one.
of games that are like that where we're going to be seeing teams having their final matches that they're going to decide who makes playoffs, or who's going to get the first seed or the second seed. I did most of the potential seedings for divisions, and there were a lot of games to be played, a lot of key matches that are going to just change what the potential playoffs are going to be. There's only probably like one division that's set in stone, and that's like Division 5. So, and I think the only difference would be is like a fourth and fifth place seed, would it be like swapped depending on the results of the game, I think, or something like that.
So the really other interesting thing we're running into with this game is it is actually going to be a 5 versus 5 matchup. Both teams are missing a player, and they're going ahead with the game.
They decide they both want to do 5. They don't want to pull in subs.
Oh, wow.
They're just going to go 5.
Okay, I mean, if both teams agree to it, I guess they're down for it. I mean, we do have that in writing, screenshot maybe someone. So let's get into a little bit about these teams since we aren't going to be seeing all their players. Let's go look first into what's going to be, if I'm correctly, Team Blank. So Team Blank here, they got an interesting comp with a May. They listed everyone as flex except for the McCree AAM. And who's missing from Blank?
Looks like Bello is going to be missing.
Mellow, so they're Mercy. Okay, that might be interesting. I wonder if they're still going to be running, a May without having, Mercy, or what this whole comp's going to be. I've never really seen 5-on-5, so it's going to be a little bit interesting.
Definitely unique.
I'm excited to see what they kind of decide to do with a 5 versus 5, because what do you decide? Do you decide that double support is more important than maybe double tank or double DPS? How do you change your lineup, and do you have somebody play off role, because clearly there's one role that's going to be lacking a person, and is that the role that's important?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure this team will have something they can pull together. Looking at some of the questions that they filled out, they do practice daily, and they've been playing together, for 2 months exactly today. So they definitely will probably have something under their belt, and they wanted to join this league, because it's a great environment to learn. So they're all learning and growing as a team. So I'm sure with that they practice some different comps. Then what do we expect to see out of Blank? What kind of compositions do you think they're gonna run other than the May? Is there anything that they
Well,
down?
I mean, they say that they're good with the standard death ball, but if they're all flexes, I mean, we could see some pretty interesting stuff. And with a 5-man composition, I'm not really sure how we're going to see it with one healer and then 3 DPS and 1 tank. If we go for the extra killing power to try to wipe out members really fast in the other team, or they might go for some sustain if they can run 3 tanks and 1 DPS and 1 healer, or just 3 tanks and 2 healers. Which we could see some interesting comps coming out of this team if they're really truly flex players.
This is something that maybe can benefit Blank too, because they do run a lot of sustain anyway. So maybe you pick one less support. You've got a lot of sustain characters anyways. You're missing your Mercy. Why not give it a try? That might be something they decide to do.
Yeah, I mean, they even listed, they're not really worried about the current meta because they kind of make their own meta. So let's see if that, holds to truth with a 5-man comp. But let's switch this over. Let's go talk about Cloud King, okay? Cloud King, from Division 3C, 4-0, and they also have 5. Who's missing from this roster, Labasco?
Well, let's see here. That's what I was trying to figure out right now. I believe it's Dad who is missing right now, and when you look at Dad, he's their Mercy player as well. So you have both teams without a Mercy player.
Yeah, it looks like they're coming in merciless.
Oh.
Pun intended.
Of course. Yeah, but this team, so funny thing, so the other team said they practice daily. They've been playing, for like 2 months. This team says they rarely practice due to scheduling conflicts. As we can probably see now, there's a scheduling conflict happening right now. But they're looking like they listed 3 tanks down for their players. Maybe just because they're so flexible. I mean, they have 3 flex players here as well. The other team we saw was 1 DPS and 5 flex. This one has 3 flexes and then 1 support, 1 DPS, 1 tank. But unfortunately, their main support is out. So interesting. I don't really know who we're going to be seeing as the support for this team. But then what comps do you think they're going to be running? I mean, anything that we've heard back from this team?
Well, some trash talk in the custom games from Blank is saying that Clout Gang's support is going to be trash. Since their support main is missing, all they have are the flexes. I'm inclined to agree. They say they run a standard variations of Deathball 222 comps. So I'm expecting one of their flexes to go on Mercy, but won't be great at it. But yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what to see out of them because without their support main, any of their flexes could be swapping onto one of the supports, or maybe 2 of them, depending on what kind of composition they go.
Yeah,
that may be a weakness for Cloud Gang that Blank will be able to exploit.
Yeah, I'm expecting a close game. Both teams are missing their Mercies. They're both 4-0, and they both have a pretty relative season high average SR. Blank's at 33.95, and Cloud King's at 33.59. So really close there. Just under 40, just over 40 SR difference there.
I think one of the keys, Pimp, is going to be looking at who adapts to 5v5 the quickest. I mean, that can give you an edge in your early control point map. And for this first one here, when you look at what map's going to be played, it's Lijiang Tower. That's the week for Blank versus Cloud that they will end up playing. And that's a map where you have a lot of different possibilities you can do comp-wise when you have 6v6. So 5v5, well, you find something quick on there and you can really steamroll.
Yeah, I mean, and if we look back at their info sheet, we also noticed that Blank put down Volskaya and Numbani if they had the choice of picking on those. So, those Volskaya can be a great map for me. I mean, Numbani in certain points can be, but interesting. I didn't see that Kings Row because that's what Cloud Game put down was Kings Row as their hybrid preferred map. So, if the May comes out by Blink, it's going to benefit them, even though Cloud Game put that down as their preferred map. So, we'll see. It could be a double-edged sword there playing on Kings Row, but we do have Lijiang Tower. Both teams are ready. We're going to be getting into this game here. We're going to have Labasco and Thenlar and Caston. I'm just here for the host duty. So, Lijiang, do we expect... I'm thinking we're definitely going to see a Mei here because her ult is just so powerful on a control point.
It wouldn't be too surprising to see, that is for sure. Let's just say that.
Even a Junkrat, we see Mundy was listed as a Junkrat player, so it's interesting to see if they're going to stick with that or just completely put in something new.
All right, looking at some team compositions here. Looks like... which team is this? Oh, yeah, Clout Gang, sorry. Clout Gang in the red. and you're going to have Blank in blue. So Clout Gang here is showing a very odd team composition with well, they are showing a Bastion, but now they've got still the Symmetra, Junk, Doomfist, and a Widow in a single support. So I wonder if they're really going to go for this quad DPS. Doesn't seem likely.
Nah, more than likely not. We'll see. I mean, Symmetra on Monday right now, he does have a little bit of time before he has to switch off of that, but it seems like we already know what Blank's going to do here. They are going to have the Mei, and this first point maybe not the best one for Mei, but we'll see how it goes.
All right, and we are off to the races. Looks like we're seeing a Rhine on both sides, 2 tanks, 1 support, and 2 supports on Clout Gang. So it's difference in philosophies both these teams. Clout Gang is going on to the point first with the Lucio speed boost getting them up there pretty quickly, and both teams are now skirmishing in this narrow hallway. Both tanks sitting with their fire strikes in, pretty skirmishing back and forth without a pick yet. That first pick is going to be critical in the beginning of this fight.
And it looks like Clout Gang is going to have that early chance to take it here unless Blank gets onto the point. Those reses coming in here early on for both sides as the fight continues onto the point. Mei wall doesn't really block anyone away, but getting pushed back right now is Clout Gang so far. So now Blank the ones controlling on the point, but now it looks like Clout Gang getting the kills here and going to clean up as there's a very early Earth Shatter too from Mercury, and he cleans up to give the point here first to Clout Gang. Thenlar, that first fight, it was kind of back and forth, and then all of a sudden it just switched.
Yeah, I mean, the early picks came in on both Reinhardts, and the Mercies immediately res them. We've got a swap here onto a Pharah for AAM over on Team Blank. That Earth Shatter from Mercury, it's pretty amazing he built it up so fast, but it might be a bit of waste. Oh, here's a Graviton Surge on the cheeky end of Reddit strat, trying to get the off pull. Oh, Elite gets hauled off the edge, gets a little too close to the Graviton, and off they go. We're down to a 4 versus 5, and Blank is really going to have to regroup after that loss and wait for the despawn.
Yeah, built up to 32%, but you don't really... You have Lynx and the Soldier 76 that can put some damage onto AAM. We'll see what ends up happening with that. You have 2 ults on either side as well going into this next team fight.
Blank is now pushing in. They've gotten themselves up behind the strength of that Rhine shield, pushing out of that choke point and into the open area. Here's an Earth Shadow coming from Spar, picks up the Mercy, who gets protected by the Zarya. Attack Virus comes out from Lynx, cleaning up the back line of Blank, and Clout Gang is going to hold this point for another 10-15 seconds.
Good job of countering those ults by Clout Gang. You saw that my wife, the Mercy player, went down from that Earth Shatter. That's the person you want in the Earth Shatter. They end up not being able to use their ultimate, but their team Boltz Cannon with the good bubble keeps my wife from dying, and then the team cleans up with a Lynx Visor to eventually keep control here. And they're already up to 80%. This has got to be a team fight win here for Blank.
Blank is sitting on 3 of their ults, and the Pharah is at 99%. Here's 100%. There's another Earth Shatter coming down from Mercury. It doesn't seem to get any value out of that, unfortunately. Look for these ults to come bursting out from Blank. Here's that barrage, picking up 1 kill, but then taken out, and then the reses are flowing in next.
Yeah, my wife using the Valkyrie ult here as charging in with Spark with to get somebody pinned. Him and Mercury just swinging back and forth. The Mei ult here freezes Mercury, who finally goes down with the help of AAM. On the point right now is Blank, but they haven't been able to get anybody. Now you have the ult come from Boltz Cannon as they try to clean up here. The only one left alive for Blank is the Roadhog going down, and point number 1 goes to Clout Gang. And Blank, they just didn't have enough, it seemed like, to clean up when they did get on there of Clout Gang, and they took that first point.
Yeah, I mean, you can see how the difference in team composition strategies here played out. Clout Gang was running 2 supports there with a Lucio and the Mercy, while Blank only had the Mercy. And it seems like Tyson on Team Blank was unable to provide enough support to keep his team alive, and any pick is critical in this 5 versus 5 matchup. So Blank has swapped off and is adding a Lucio now, coming off of that tank. So now they're going to run 2 DPS, 1 tank, and 2 supports.
Princess Nia switching onto the Mei. They want to keep the Mei in their comp. I was curious to see if they were just going to get rid of it, because Leet now on the Lucio as we come out here onto this second point, and this speed boost getting Clout Gang early on here. but high ground position for Blank up on the stairs.
There's a very nice ice wall from Princess NIA. Cuts off Mercury, but no follow-up on that cutoff. So both teams are now quickly skirmishing. Clout Gang is still in control of the point. The Reinhardt's swinging their hammers at each other, going in for that early kill. There's a flashbang onto Mercury. Neither team is taking a whole lot of damage here. Blank is a little bit worse for wear right now, and Spark has actually gotten quite low, getting healed just barely. But May's on the point to contest it, but still looks like Clout Gang is going to be holding it for the time being.
And Blank was late to get onto the point, allowed Clout Gang to have it. This is a bad situation to start off for Blank. They've got to get a quick team wipe here. But Leak gets taken out by Mundy, quickly res by Tyson is keeping the fight with the Valkyrie ult going here as Blank looking to try and clean up. They got Ballast Cannon in it, take him down, AM with the kill there. Lynx finding Spark, however, quickly gets rezzed back. Maybe going to be able to clean up here for Blank, but they're having trouble just clearing the team out quickly. Mercury finally going down, and now you'll get the switch, 33% built up only.
Really unfortunate for Lynx there is that he actually popped his tack visor off to the side of the point and was immediately ice walled off by Princess Nia. His tack visor was completely wasted. That's a really big blow to Clout Gang. They're down now only sitting on one ult, maybe about to have two with Ballast Cannon coming up. But they could have had an advantage in the coming fight, and now they're going to be down one.
Yeah, only with that one ult here. We'll see how this fight goes for them.
Oh, here comes that Deadeye. AM picks up two. That's really important because only a res can pick up one, and immediately My Wife goes down. So Blank is sitting on a huge advantage, 5 versus 3. They should be able to clean up, hold the point for a little bit longer. Now their percentage has surpassed Clout Gang, and they're taking the lead.
I think Clout Gang was smart there to disengage. They did get an ult out of it. Now they're going to have the ult advantage in the next fight. Bullets Cannon finding Leak to cause the res to come out as well. Sound barrier goes off here for Blank, but they're still winning the fight as well. Using this, only one ult left. Maybe an ill-advised ult from Bullets Cannon as the rest of the team was blocked off because of the Mei ice wall. Coming in here just at the last second was My Wife to use the 2 res. It'll push Blank back, but they just used a lot of ults there, Thenlar.
Yeah, I mean, and all it did was equalize the fight. Mercury gets a charge into the back line there, but he's positioned all by himself now, and he's going to be pretty quickly picked off and killed if the rest of the team doesn't support him. There's an Earth Shatter coming in from Spark. Lynx is immediately killed as well from the Deadeye. Counter Earth Shatter from Mercury, who's still not dead somehow. And both teams just brawling it out on the point.
Yeah, very late ult from Mundy on the sound barrier. Didn't get Lynx, so he couldn't stay alive in that fight. He is back up now and running back towards the point. The point did switch to Clout Gang, so they built up a little bit of a percentage, but Blank was able to force them back, and now they're up to 75%.
Yeah, ult-wise, though, Blank used everything to take that back, and Clout Gang is sitting on the tack visor. Lynx has built it back up, with My Wife about to have Valkyrie up again as well. So if they utilize that ult really cleverly, they might be able to take the point back off the strength of that single ult.
And
Blank
here's
is taking the high ground. And
oh, sorry about that,
engage.
Thenlar. Mundy switching to Junkrat as well. See if that makes a difference.
Right, yeah, they've gone off to the single support themselves as well. We're into overtime as Blank takes that 99%. Tack visor goes off, but doesn't seem to get any value for that. No kills. Both teams taking a lot of damage. Mercury very low and killed before he can use his Earth Shatter.
The Mei ice, the Mei ult went off there, but My Wife coming in with the Valkyrie ult. Rezzes Mundy and Mercury back, but clearing off the point right now is Blank. Spark just swinging his hammer, charges in, just misses Mercury, but he does do some damage to him, who's still being held up by My Wife, and they're on the point right now, and they're going to take this back. I think the advantage was there for Blank, but they retreated.
It was a 3 versus 3 fight, but with the strength of the soldier behind the Rhine shield, there wasn't really much Blank to do to take them to do the win the shield war. But both teams have got the respawns in, they're firing him. Here's a Graviton Surge coming in from Ballast Cannon, he's very low. Mercury swinging that hammer, picks up 2 kills, but Tyson comes into res and gets 1 before being killed himself.
They cleaned up here really easily using the ults they had. They still have a Riptire here. If they push up early on, they can use that Riptire, try and hold the choke if they want. I don't think they have enough time to get there, though. They're staying back onto the point. They've built up now to 86%. So one last fight here, more than likely, Thenlar, to define the winner as it'll start up top on the stairs. Spark coming around there, uses his Earth Shatter, didn't catch anyone with it. Charge brings both in. Mundy finding Tyson with the tire. This is probably going to be a win here for Clout Gang. That's an early pick that'll help them out. Princess Naya, the only one left here. as she gets sent up into the air and down by the attack visors. The overtime ticker counts out, and it goes here. Map number 1 to Clout Gang early on Lijiang Tower, but a good fight there at the end, and maybe kind of figuring out their 5-on-5 strategy is blank.
Yeah, Clout Gang had a really clever position in there with their DPS. Both Junkrat and Soldier were in the high grounds on a little ledge above the point. They knew that Blank was going to have to send their whole team charging onto the point to try to contest it, so they had the Junkrat with the Riptire up there. He came out and got the Mercy in the air, who was Valkyrying, and then the Soldier was just shooting down. So really good job there by Clout Gang. Kudos to them, and they take this. They're ahead in the series now, 1-0.
I think it was a good switch too by Mundy to add that extra damage, especially when you talk about that map specifically for Lijiang Tower. Junkrat's really strong there, and you saw it make a difference. The Riptire too, catching the Mercy, I thought was huge as well.
Yeah, especially a Mercy and Valkyrie is really difficult to kill. Free movement in the air, constant regeneration. They can get two charges on the Resurrect now with this latest patch, so that's 2 people they can pick up. So it's really important to be able to take out that Mercy. Usually you end up using ults to do that, and the Rip Tower was the perfect way to take her out of the air in a single blast, ending the hopes of Blank right then and there.
We're going to Eichenwald now here next then, Lar. Do you think we see too much of a change here from team comps from either side?
I find it really interesting that Clout Gang started off with the 2 supports and won the first map, and then when they were losing the second map, they switched off to a single support, whereas Blank did the reverse. So I'm really kind of curious how this is going to go, to be honest. Clout Gang is still in the red here, attacking first in Eichenwald, and Blank is going to be on defense. And, I really don't know. What do you think?
Well, both teams right now, there we go. It was still saying waiting for players, so both teams were kind of messing around. I don't think you're going to see the Bastion come out from my wife here on the side of Clout Gang. Maybe you will, so Clout Gang's still in red here. I don't know. I'm really curious to see if this is what they end up going with here early on. Obviously, a lot of time to switch. I think Blank is going to stick with what they finished with, just because, maybe AAM looks like he's going to be on the Soldier here, but very similar to what they started using before with the two supports here early on, and of course they're on defense first.
Yeah, definitely. Blank is coming out here with all 5 of those members. It's really interesting to see they actually have a very high support comp here, or a very high sustain comp, because the Soldier and the Mei both have ways of healing themselves, and of course they had the 2 supports. So Reinhardt's the only one without any self-sustain there, and he's got that big old shield to protect everyone else. So Blank is going to have a pretty tough composition here. They have a lot of sustain. They're going to be able to heal themselves a lot. And it's going to be interesting how Clout Gang tries to bust through that. We haven't seen anything crazy with their comp yet, but, their comp looks crazy. We'll see if they stick with it.
I think the biggest thing I've seen with Blank, though, is they haven't really had that damage to wipe a team and wipe them fast. They've kind of been dragging things out, and that can really turn against you in long, drawn-out team fights if the other team with a spawn advantage is able to get back. So that's the one thing I look at here. And Bullets Cannon showing us it looks like maybe a pharmacy with my wife. So we'll see how this first look comes out for Clout Gang, as they are going to come up down the middle here and behind the wall of Mercury's shield. As both teams poking each other at the choke. And you have, going over the top, Bullets Cannon trying to deal some damage on the Pharah.
Yeah, Bullets Cannon has already generated a lot of ult charge here. Here's an Ice Wall cutting off some members of Clout Gang, but fortunately their Fair Mercy was above to able to get over it. But Spark was able to capitalize on that wall and swing that hammer, picking up 2 kills, and Clout Gang is already going to be forced to retreat.
Just found another one too, so 3 kills come in there very quickly, or sorry, 2 kills come in there very quickly, and that did force them back. And when you lose the Rhine like that, that makes things very difficult.
Yeah, especially in these 5 versus 5, the Rhine shield is really important. That's 2,000 extra hit points for your team when you're already lower than normal. The Far Mercy here is doing a lot of work here. Bullets Cannon is sitting at 66% of ult charge now. So let's see if we can get more damage coming in with that barrage. Mercury is up ahead of the team, along with Mundy. Mundy very aggressive on that Lucio. A lot of damage coming in on Clout Gang, and Mercury is separated and killed.
That's a great boot from Leet to give the opportunity for Spark to get the kill. Then the Earth Shatter here from Spark. No follow-up from his team, however, so he gets taken out, but quickly rezzed back in. Mercury trying to escape using his charge to get away, as now him and Spark charged him, but ended up getting taken out by Lynx, who was right behind the Valkyrie ult used by Tyson to keep up Spark. And Blank at least holding on here and not giving a chance for Clout Gang to push on to the point. Mercury and Mundy got taken out as well, so having to go back, and we have a pause here now.
Yeah, Clout Gang asked for the pause, so it looks like someone's having a really high ping issue. In certain situations like this, there's a limit to how long one team can pause for high ping. Hopefully that ping goes down, and I think it's 4 minutes.
Yeah, I can't remember, but yeah, when you have when you get that high of a ping, that does make things really tough. So calling for, and it was, I believe too, it was the Reinhardt player for Clout Gang who's the one who needed that to happen. So your Reinhardt really important, especially here in 5v5. You want to have that damage mitigation, so you take that time if you can. But what we've seen here from Blank so far, though, has been a pretty good hold, Thenlar. I think that this comp, they found something that's really working, especially here on defense. And I think Princess Nia has been really good in part with those walls to really make things work.
Definitely. They've been picking off members of Clout Gang piecemeal, and it's been really helping that defense. And that last time, Mercury, after that little brawl, Mercury at the end there was by himself and used an Earth Shatter. So now you can see that's why he's at 10% right now, which is really unfortunate. Mundy has swapped over to another different support now. He's on Zenyatta, looking for that extra killing power for Clout Gang. So let's see how these teams are going to do now.
It is something that they need. The Discord Orb can help out. The ice wall used there to sort of block off AAM Lynx, but didn't really do a whole lot, as now coming forward will be Clout Gang back to the choke, and this poking here has benefited Blank. It just has been using up a lot of time. Speaking of time, 1:20 left to go before this first part of the map is over. A wall to block the way by Princess Nia, and it's been working, as now after the wall comes down, Spark charges in, finds my wife, and then Nia gets Mercury.
Yeah, the opportunity for Clout Gang was after that ice wall popped up, trying to separate off AAM. They should have charged through the choke before the ice wall recharged, but instead they took too long to move up, and another ice wall was able to put up and split their team. And now they're down to 45 seconds to try to take this point. Here's another wall again, slowing them down. They're going around, just kind of charging in here.
The Mei ult used there gets Mercury, who ends up getting killed by Nia, quickly rezzed right back, but Leet finding Lynx, so a big kill there. Have to use the Valkyrie ult was Clout Gang, as this is going to have to be their push. Mercury charging in, finds Princess Nia, so the Mei is away, but there's not enough really left. All you had was a Zenyatta and a Soldier. 19 seconds to try and get onto the point here. Balletscan is going to have to just try and go over the top to try and get towards the point. And you're seeing Blank, they're staying pretty much in the same spot they've been the entire time.
Yeah, you see Balletscan going around, being contested here by Tyson and the Soldier. And pretty much the entire team of Clout Gang is actually going on the point right now, but blocked off by a Mei wall. So pretty much all-out brawl on the point. Neither team has any ults really ready to use right now, so it's just going to be pure mechanical skill, target call out, and focusing. My wife goes down, so that's really big. Clout Gang is missing their mercy. We'll see how Blank can capitalize.
AM doing a lot of work up on the high ground and finally got pushed off.
Yeah, 3 kills onto Clout Gang, so now they're left with 2. No one left to contest. They're forced off the point as Blank surges back on the points with all the members still alive. Full hold, point A, Eichenwald by Blank.
Really good hold from Blank, and I think you give credit there on that last fight, because that seemed like it was going to be the best chance for Clout Gang, as they finally sort of broke that comp that was happening. The Mei is a lot less effective when you're on the point, but AAM on the high ground and was really uncontested there and just did work and cleaned up, and that was one of the big differences in that final fight. He got 2 kills in a row, a double kill, that really sort of solidified things and gave them the edge there. So now having to try and full hold will be Clout Gang. And we saw a comp that, do they try and mirror the comp that Blank did? Because it did work really well.
It did, but if they don't have anyone that's good at May, because as we noted before, their May is part of their comp that they normally work with. That is Team Blank. Clout
Right.
Gang may not have anyone that's really good with May, and it looks like they can go with a more traditional builder cancer style comp with the Torb Orisa combo. No Symmetra, however, but they're still running 2 supports and a soldier with just the Orisa. So they're going to be at a slight disadvantage without that big barrier shield from Rhine, but they'll have a lot more damage output from that Orisa guarding the Torb shield, or Torb turret, along with the soldier stream from behind it as well.
And this is something that can work here too. I mean, this is a pretty good map for Torbjorn if you can really protect the turret well, and if your Orisa is outputting a lot of damage that's going to either break the shield or get onto targets. It's interesting because you're seeing the one difference we see right now is AM on Roadhog. So picks will be very important here, it looks like, for Blank if they want to try and get through what's going to be output here.
All right, let's see what kind of composition Blank is running on their attack here. That Roadhog there is going to be good for dealing more damage. They're running a triple tank with just a Lucio support and then May. So we're going to be really low on healing capabilities, which might be tough with the amount of damage. Oh, here the May walls can come over the top of the choke point, but it looks like Clout Gang wasn't really planning on holding that choke pretty hard. A quick rotate onto the point from Blank, and it's going to be a brawl on the point. Oh, there's an early kill on the Spark, and there's the advantage for Clout Gang.
And that helps too, because now you give your Torbjorn time to try and build his turret, but he gets pulled in by AM. He quickly gets rezzed though, so that may be going to make a difference here. Princess Nia just on the point, trying to cause chaos, using the wall to block their team as they go around. AM continuing to find picks as well. A good start here for Blank. They're in not a bad position.
Spark coming from behind with that charge picks up Lynx from the back. Now Clout Gang's in serious trouble. They're down 2 members on this point. Just the Orisa and the Zenyatta. Just the Zenyatta now, there's no way to hold it by himself.
And he gets killed right away.
Yep.
That was a quick one there. I couldn't believe how fast they were able to turn that. I don't think that Clout Gang thought about Blank using the May there to use that wall to go around, because you had the Torbjorn turret built in the spot you wanted, but they just canceled that out with the May wall.
Yeah, that was really clever work by Blank. They're a May specialist team. Clearly, they've worked out the different ways that May can be useful for them, and it came really in handy there. So this series is now 1-1 tied, and Clout Gang is going to be picking the next map.
I think you give a lot of credit there to Thenlar, to Blank for being that creative and thinking, because, you know, what were we talking about before their attack started was, you know, why do you stay with the May there? Sure, it's something you're comfortable with, but obviously there's a way to get a lot more damage output, and clearly they had already known. We're thinking maybe there was going to be a comp similar to what they were doing, or something that was going to try and hold the choke. Well, they didn't hold the choke, and they were able to get around it no problem.
Yeah, it worked out into Blank's favor because Clout Gang had to rotate, and, you know, at Torbjorn has setup time for turret, and the Roadhog got the pick before that Orisa shield came down, and then the turret was never able to be built up. Even though Torb was immediately rezzed thereafter, he was too far away from his turret. He actually went and put down another one, which was then on the other side of a May wall. The May was killed, the turret was killed, and then Torbjorn got taken out right again after by the Roadhog.
And I don't think that second turret ever got to level 2 as well. And if you can't get that to level 2, that makes a huge difference too. That's a lot of damage that you're losing out on. So I think that you give a lot of credit to Blank on Eichenwald. I'm curious to see for the next map pick, though, what does Clout Gang decide to do? Where do they decide to go? I think if I'm Clout Gang, try to find a map that isn't May, that doesn't have a benefit for May, or at least the least amount of benefit for May, because Princess Nia, even though Leet is the one who's normally their May, very good on May.
Definitely. I think they definitely want to stay away from Hanamura then, because Hanamura's got that high window, and then the choke point doors. That's going to be very helpful for a May on attack or defense. A lot of little strategies you can use there. So Hanamura's one they're going to have to stay away from, which leaves what? Temple of Anubis and Volskaya.
And, well, we also got Horizon, though, they could choose. But remember, we talked about earlier that Blank mentioned that Volskaya is one of their preferred maps. So hopefully Clout Gang doesn't pick Volskaya, because I'm assuming Blank has a lot of strats on there that they like to run, and I could see it. There's that one hole right at point at the first choke on Volskaya. There's a little like window you can go through. Like sometimes like a Widow or Hanzo will go peek from, and if they have that May wall, they'll just use that right there and try to go right through. Provide alternate routes.
Definitely.
Though just the organization behind that, being able to get all of you on that same thing is just, that takes some practice to do.
And they did it quick.
They did it really quick. Like, we could go back to the stream later on and watch how fast they did that. I was just like, whoa! Like, and everyone got up there. So
I feel like, I don't know if they were. I think because it was a full hold, maybe they were anticipating a Torbjorn. I think that's what they would expect in a 6v6. So I think they already had that figured out, that's what they were going to do.
I just think they probably take that route anyway because
because
otherwise, it's not going to be expected to do that. I mean, no one usually has that much coordination as like movement, especially with a game where there's like a lot of ping, and like chat delay. Okay, so like that's probably why they practice every day, is because they figure out those alternative routes to do so.
I was a little surprised we didn't see Mundy go back onto the Junkrat on defense. I know that they wanted to use the Torb, but I feel like you could have put Mundy on Junkrat again, and you could probably still use Torb as well, but I was just a little surprised with how well he did on Li Jiang that we didn't see it, because that's somebody who can really hold and just, even if you, that's when if they did go in that room with a Junkrat, that's when you can do a lot of damage.
We also got to note, Mercury was, having a bit of some ping issues in there. And like, on the stream, people could even see it. Like, he was like running in a wall at one point right after they unpaused the game. So, I mean, that could have been a big factor. But I think, May on Eichenwald has been like, it's been like bread and butter. I mean, like, it's literally like that. That's was one of the, before they added that extra route, then like just May was just unstoppable there pretty much. So
and it's not like that extra route helps very much anyways, and it just lets out right next to the same choke.
It is, but at least it has something.
I was just surprised that for Clout Gang that they went in through that route one time, but that they came out through the main choke instead of going through the side door. I was a little surprised that they didn't try to. I mean, sure, the May wall can trap you in there, but maybe not expecting it. Maybe you can get through in time, or have to have that Lucio speed boost or something to try and get everybody by it beforehand.
Looks like Horizon Lunar Colony is going to be the choice of Clout Gang for their map, so that is not as a May-friendly map depending on which way they choose to attack. No weird strategies that I know of for May to work with in that map.
Yeah, I think Horizon Lunar Colony is the perfect map. It's still one of the newer maps. Obviously, Junkertown's the newest right now, but I think as far as strategies, there's still not that, like, this is how you full hold on Lunar Colony. You still don't see that happen too often.
Although my recent experiences in competitive would argue against that. I've had two maps that went two plays in Horizon Lunar Colony this week that went to full draws because of full holds in point A.
Man. Now I have to ask, because everybody that I've casted with so far has been a dirty plat. Are you a dirty plat as well?
I am not a dirty plat. I can proudly claim that I have made it to mid-diamonds now.
Congratulations. That's all right. You're not with the rest of us then, and that's always good.
We got like 4 of us main casters here that are dirty plats. And actually, I think that Gnome drops it back down, so he's no longer a dirty plat.
I think he's a gold. I think he's a gold right now.
I think he actually has consistently been dropping down, like every season. So he was a dirty plat at one point.
Ouch. I mean, if plat's dirty, what does that make gold? Like filthy gold?
I mean, gold. When you have a lot of gold, you're usually filthy rich. So.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Right. Makes sense.
Makes sense to me. Yeah. All right. Looks like everyone is ready.
Yeah. So it looks like, just from reading the chat, in the in-game chat, it looked like Blank really doesn't like. Does not like. Oh, and they are going to be switching back sides again. Okay. It looks like Blank really doesn't like this map, so It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yep.
Well-
All right. So it looks like Blank is going to be your team in red, attacking first, and Clout Gang is going to be in blue on defense.
I'm curious to see, if everybody messing around, because it's trying to find more players, obviously, and that's not going to happen. So curious to see how this one will start out. What does Blank change? Do they stay with their Mei, or do they decide to use something else? And they are on defense first.
No, Blank's on attack first.
No, Blank's on attack
Oh,
first.
sorry, attack first. Sorry.
So,
Yep. All right. Clout Gang is sitting here messing with their standard troll picks on during the Assemble Heroes phase. Let's see what they end up actually going with for their picks during their defense.
Right now, you haven't seen them switch off as far as Blank, Reaper, Lucio, Orisa, Roadhog, and you have the Sombra coming out here too from Tyson. And that looks like that's what they're going with.
That could be a pretty interesting attack composition. I'm not really sure if there's a lot of good med kits for the Sombra to use close to the point. There is that big one, that little room close to Winston's room. But defensively, we're seeing a two DPS, 2 tank, and the solo Mercy strategy again. Nothing really long range, just that soldier, but other than that, we've got that Junkrat raining grenades from high ground. Looks like Clout Gang is going to be setting up above. So let's see how Blank chooses to move. I'm expecting that they might actually choose to run to the left, to the left of the point where that small medkit is, and hack that with their Sombra. But we'll see how they go.
And it looks like they're going to stay with the Sombra here too. Tyson using invisibility here, running off to the right side. Misses the Junkrat bombs that were being spammed down from Mundy, who's back on the Junkrat. We saw him be very successful on Lijiang Tower with it. They're using the Lucio's speed boost to get under to the right, but they do have right above them, they have Clout Gang. So now Clout Gang coming down here to contest right at the doorway.
Yeah, it looks like Blank is going to be using that big medkit by Winston's room. They're going to be with that huge Roadhog to eat damage and then use those medkits to generate EMP charge. Tyson's already at 92%, so look for that big EMP to come out pretty soon, which could spell the end of Clout Gang and a quick pick. Here's Tyson's flanking round. There's the EMP.
Yeah, got quite a few too with it, as Mercury gets taken down first, but quickly rezzed. My wife getting in there to do that, but my wife quickly taken out. And Lynx continuing here back and forth, maybe going to be pushing onto the point now, will be Blank. 3 left here, and there's no healing available right now for Clout Gang, but they are holding on to the point.
Yeah, unfortunately for Blank, they actually don't have any healing themselves besides the Lucio, so away from that medkit, they don't have any kind of sustain. There's an Earth Shatter coming out, but no value there for Mercury.
Gauntlet's Cannon gets a couple of kills here early on. My wife reses Mercury to keep up Clout Gang, and they're going to hold on to the point here with 2:22 left to go.
Yeah, Lynx uses that attack visor at the very last second coming in off the respawn, and gets 2 kills, which seals it defense for them. As you said, still 2 minutes left, so let's see what Blank manages to do. They're sitting at a lot of ult charge here. Reaper's at 91, Roadhog's at 85, and Tyson's about to have that EMP once again. But it looks like Clout Gang's going to take a new place to set up their defense. Probably wary of that EMP. This gives them a good place to hide in case they get EMP.
And they're a little spread out too, that always helps you, but going the same route right now as Blank. They come around, Mercury throwing in the right in front and keeping his team up. There comes the ult from Tyson, the EMP. Falling behind it was AM. Didn't really get anybody with it on the disengage as the kills go back and forth. But it looks like Clout Gang going to be able to clean up here, just trying to keep some time, or just to stall for some time with Princess Nia. It didn't work. Maybe an ill-advised whole hog.
Definitely a wasted ultimate there. He might be hoping to switch off. Yes, he switched to the Diva, so he was just using it just to get rid of it anyways.
Just to see what he can get.
Yeah. Well, it looks like, I mean, all they have left now is Sound Barrier and only 1 minute to attack. Winston and a Mercy, so they completely changed up their comp to attack for this last minute. Clout Gang is sticking with what they've got, and they're sitting on 3 ultimates, so this may be I would say Blank's looking for a dry push here, but they may not have time for that.
Charging in on the left here to start off. They also have the Winston on Spark. So the duo, see how the duo support helps here. Mundy, though, with 2 big kills with 1 mine, now finds a 3rd. And now a 4th. Lynx cleaning up after that, but Mundy with the 3 kills, making that big difference early on, and they were able to hold on to all 3 ults there. So it was sort of a dry push. They didn't get a whole lot out of it because Mundy wiped them so fast, but they should have time to get back for one more fight.
Yeah, I mean, Cloud Gang is going to be sitting on 4 ults for this defense, however, so it'll be really tough for Blank to get in there. They'll have to make really good use of that sound barrier to protect themselves from all these ults. Look for that big Earth Shadow because there's no counter barrier.
Coming in here, using the Earth Shadow as Mercury found 2, but couldn't get anybody with the charge as he missed, maybe having that problem again with the ping. As my wife able to res Bollard's cannon. Mundy getting a kill here onto Tyson, so the Mercy down on the side.
Yeah, Mercury is definitely having some problems there. He was swinging, he missed the charge, he was swinging way in the back where there's no one else around him. He's dancing all over the point now. So it's unfortunate that his ping is causing problems for his team. Here's the stuff to shot coming in from Princess Nia. Picks up Ballard's cannon and Blank in overtime. Here's his AAM tries to pop Tac Visor and is killed, but his team is already in control of the point. So it looks like Blank does take up point A in overtime.
It's unfortunate for Mercury there because, like I said, his team maybe would have been able to hold that if he was all right, if his ping didn't have that spike right when it did. But they can still hold here on the second point. Only 3:45 left here to try and capture point 2.
Yeah, definitely. Both teams did burn pretty much all of their ultimates. All we're looking at is Tyson having the Valkyrie for his Mercy. And looks like Blank is going to take the right side, a low ground push, very quickly onto the point, around the back. Leak gets taken out really quick, really res, but now that's 30 seconds before another res can come out.
Yeah, it's a good res to try and get out. You do have Tyson's ult still available, but if you can get that ult out, you take it.
Looks like we have another pause coming out, probably for ping issues from Mercury.
Yeah, more than likely that's what it is. I wonder what... It's unfortunate, too, because his team's in a very good position right now, so probably a good time to ask for the ping. His team right now, they're at an advantage, even though they don't have any ults. Tyson, the only ult up, but for Cloud Gang, they have everybody getting fairly close, especially Bullets, Cannon, and Mundy, so you can have those two combined on an ult potentially.
Yeah, he beat me to that one. And they're pretty close behind on the rest of the ults. Lynx is at 53%. He's been generating a lot of ult charge on that soldier. Mercury has been doing pretty good, but his ping issues are really, unfortunately, holding him back here. Over on Blank, they don't have anyone else really close to an ult. Sound Barrier is the next one at 64%, so defensive ults, but no attack ults. The soldier's only at 32% because he used it at the very end of point A, and Diva's only at 37% and about to get demeched, which could be a problem for Blank since, you know, they need that damage coming out from Diva.
Luckily for Mercury, too, that at least when his ping started to go up, he was in that position to finish off using that to get Princess Nia out of the Diva mech. My wife coming into res Mundy. Mercury with a kill there. Lynx following up. Tyson using the ult there to get Princess Nia back up. But I think that might not have helped out most of his team down, as they'll have to back away.
A very late Riptire from Money goes and finds Tyson, so a little bit more stagger there onto Team Blank. Have to wait for their Mercy to respawn. And looks like Cloud Gang's Cloud Gang's gonna be sitting on 4 ultimates for this next fight. Lynx should get it very quickly early on in the fight, and Blank is gonna be running into it with not a lot in the bank.
It's a good job by Princess Nia to get back into the mech and stay alive. Same with AAM. They both were able to get back and actually caused it to be less of a delay. Fight going on to the point here. Mercury catching 2 with the Earth Shatter. Nia maybe going to get out of that mech, just staying in it for a second. But Lynx with the follow-up here. The Visor finding 4. As that will wipe the team. As trying to run away is AAM. I don't think he's going to get away. And I spoke maybe too soon. He does manage to dodge all of that damage that was coming towards him, and then coming in was Tyson to keep him up.
Yeah, it was really smart of him. He actually dropped his healing station for just a second to get a little bit of hit points, but then he just kept running. Blank has already regrouped and are now coming back onto the point. 2 minutes left. Gonna have to deal with those Junkrat grenades rolling in. Spark runs into a Junkrat trap, but manages to stave off death with his bubble. Here comes the Winston jumping onto the high ground, forcing the Mercy to drop down. Eaton Fire Strike from Mercury. There's a res onto AM after he's been taken out. Both teams sitting on a couple. Here's Attack Visor coming in from AAM. Let's see if he gets any value for it.
He does get Mundy, so you take away that splash damage. My wife having to res Bullets Cannon. AM finding another in Bullets Cannon, but they do both get res thanks to the Valkyrie ult by my wife. As coming in now, the Diva Bomb doesn't find anything with it, but they're trying to turn this fight in favor. About 1:08 left to go here on point number 2. As Princess Nia hit out of the mech by a Mercury attack, and Lynx with the Deadeye to find 2. As that counter starting to build up here a little bit for Blank before they get pushed away by Cloud. They do manage to get 1 tick.
1 tick is pretty good. They got almost 50% there, but really I'd like to point out there is Lynx was on the soldier, swapped off to a McCree, and then built up a Deadeye in that single fight.
A lot of damage on either side. I think that's one of the things we've seen. Ults have been getting built really fast here in 5v5.
Definitely. It's surprising since there's less hit points to generate ults off of. Looks like Blank chose for the high ground attack this time, but is once again devolved into a fight on the point. Mercy on Mercy violence. My wife goes down. Lynx is killed next. Cloud Gang's defense is in trouble here. Attack Visor coming in from AEM. Picks up another kill. And looks like Blank is going to finish this off.
Just finish it off too before they got into overtime, and that's a big thing, that they do have some time still on the clock. They'll get another chance to attack regardless of what Clout Gang does on their attack.
Yep, definitely, and it's really unfortunate for Clout Gang because they could have held point A if Mercury's ping hadn't spiked at that really inopportune time, and now they let Blank get the full 2-point take even with a little bit of time left. So let's see if Clout Gang can bounce back from this little hiccup and get a better time than Blank.
I think, though, you have to give them credit because they still fought even with the issues that were happening, and they still managed to make it where there wasn't a lot of time on the clock for Blank. So that, I think, in and of itself is a very, very good opportunity for them here on this map. You know that the Mei is most likely, if it comes out, it's probably not going to be as effective, and it looks like we're going to see it here early on. So we will see Mei. She will make her way out again.
Yep, it looks like Blank's going to be running the 2 supports, 2 DPS, and a single Reinhardt. This is the same defense comp we saw on Eichenwald, and we're having another pause now, so Mercury can try to restart his router to deal with these ping issues.
So for Princess Nia, I mean, so far she's been great on the A, and I think if Mercury can get this working, this can be a really good opportunity for them to try and have the advantage going into a second attack if they can complete and get this early on. If you can get that early capture, you can snowball it usually too onto the second point here on Horizon Lunar Colony.
Definitely. There's not as great choke points that the Mei can block off people, so their separating strategy won't be as powerful here. Looks like Mercury has left the game, so he's restarting his router to rejoin it, hopefully fix those ping issues. I wonder what Clout Gang's going to do on their offense now. But they'll probably expect that Mei, so I wonder what they're going to do about it.
Well, attacking Torb is what Mundy's showing us right now, and if he does it, I'll be really impressed. That is for sure.
I mean, Clout Gang really does like showing their troll picks in the assemble screen here, so I'm going to take that with a grain of salt all the way up until the last 5 seconds of that countdown.
Right, that is true, but a man can dream, right? A man can dream.
We have a request from the teams here that apparently they have a running gag that the casters talk about pizza toppings during pauses. So while we're waiting for Mercury, what is your opinion on pineapple as a pizza topping?
It is not a pizza topping to me. I mean, I don't mind if other people have pizza. That's how I feel. I like my classic sausage pizza when I have the opportunity.
Let me get in here, okay, real quick. You're asking the two wrong people. Here, me and Labasco are from Chicago area, okay? So we got fine pizzas, okay? There's no such
Hold
thing
on.
as
That's
pineapple
not
on
pizza.
pizza.
That's pie. That is
No,
a pie,
no.
sir. That is not a pizza.
It doesn't matter if it's deep dish or thin crust. Chicago thin crust is still amazing too.
Yes,
okay?
it is.
So it's not just about the so
You can't underestimate the Chicago thin crust. That is
Yeah.
for sure.
I will underestimate all I want. 'Cause I live in New Jersey and I'm used to that good New York
Oh,
pizza.
New York style.
keep dreaming.
But I will agree with you that pineapple does not belong on a pizza.
Does not belong on
Neither does anchovies. But I mean, for me, I prefer the traditional meats as well: sausage, pepperoni. I like
Pepperoni,
bacon, maybe chicken now too.
You know what? I've had a good buffalo chicken pizza. I'll admit it's not something I like, but I've had a decent one. For me, like Pim said, we're from Chicago. It's hard to go against a good deep dish pizza. It really is. And there's just so much good pizza in Chicago. Like
The one thing
that
you cannot go against is one, the hot dogs, and two, the Portillo beefs.
Oh my God, Italian beef is something that doesn't exist anywhere else.
It does not exist anywhere else but Chicago. At least a good Italian beef.
Yeah, people are like, what is it? I'll be like, it's sort of like a French dip, but you cook the beef in the sauce that you would use to dip. That's sort of one of the differences. You know, it's so good, and it is nowhere else. Hot jardinera too.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what that is.
Yeah, it's a myth.
Okay, so it looks like Mercury has rejoined, so I believe we'll be getting back into this pretty shortly, despite the pizza discussion and other things now.
Well, Blank's up 2-0 right now. They just pulled out the May. Their defense hasn't started yet. I feel pretty confident in their May strats, although this is probably the least effective 2CP map for May, I believe. There's just like so many ways you can come into the point from, it's hard to block
I agree.
them.
There's less choke points in
But
Horizon.
we are
Horizon,
actually about to start up.
Yeah. Horizon has been noted. Jeff Kaplan made a post in the forums a couple months ago and talking about win rates in quick play, where every map was at pretty much a 50-50 win rate for attackers' defense, except for two. Eichenwald favored defenders with a 45 to 55% ratio, and Horizon favored attackers for a 55 to 45% ratio. So, probably owing to the lack of really natural choke points like most 2CP maps, so it gives the attackers a lot of avenues to approach, forces the defenders to defend in a lot of different directions, and makes it a little easier to overwhelm them.
Yeah, that 6 DPS quick play comp does a lot better when there's a lot more room.
No, I mean, I play quick play. I'll be that one support.
Yeah,
yes.
That's a good way to practice your support play, because you're the only one who's going to do it. As coming out here and going around to the left side early on is the team of Clout Gang trying to go to that left room as they see the team comp that's coming out.
Yeah, Mundy did get blocked off by the ice wall, but able to catch up slowly. There's another ice wall to try to block off, but didn't work. However, the barrier from Mercury is shattered. He goes for a charge. Both Reinhardts bounce into each other, but Clout Gang is at a bit disadvantage. Spark is taken out by the Junkrat, immediately rezzed. And both teams now skirmishing just to the left of this point here. Lynx is the next one to go down. And let's see if My Wife can pick up theirs. Yep, there's the rest of My Wife. There's the ice wall blocking these points. And both teams are now trying to find that pick because the reses have been used. Let's see if someone can manage it.
Have to get that pick early, though, because if you take too long, it'll come back. Oh, there's the big tire on the AAM from Mundy. Mercury getting his counterpart and Spark on the Reinhardt. So early advantage here going to Clout Gang. The res used on to Princess Nia, but I don't know if that's going to be enough here. Lynx with 3 kills, too. Killing Princess Nia twice and getting Tyson. And Clout Gang going to get the early capture here, it looks like.
Yeah, Lynx is popping off on this McCree. He did a great job when he switched over on point B defense. And, he saw his accuracy here on this attack. He just ripped apart the defenders once they got into that open brawl. He's at 94% for that Deadeye. Look for that high ground Deadeye onto the point while the rest of his team jumps on the point to force defenders on there. We do now have a Sombra defense here from Blank. Tyson on the Sombra.
Also have lead on Mercy switched from Lucio, so that another switch as well. And an early pick there from Lynx onto Princess Nia, so the res out too for lead.
All right, looks like Cloud Gang has jumped on the points. Lynx is still staying on the high ground, so look for that Deadeye coming out shortly once that shield goes down. Both teams contesting pretty heavily now. Mercury in very bad shape, but getting healed up by my wife. Lynx gets Deadeye kill on AAM. There's another kill by the Reinhardts, and a 5-3 advantage here for Blank.
The advantage here for Cloud Gang. They're going to get this early on, and that's a big time bank they have. 6:27. We said they could roll here if they managed to get that first point early, and that's exactly what they did. Couldn't handle what was coming out as far as the damage from Lynx and Money. Those two, I think, were the stars there.
Yeah, that was a complete snowball. Lynx and Monday were great. The DPS, Junkrat getting the damage coming out there. His Riptide at the end actually got no kills, but Lynx did a great job on the McCree. You know, as I predicted, not to toot my own horn here, but he did stay up in the high ground, wait for his team to draw out the defender so he can get a nice open Deadeye, killing the defending soldier, which gave a pretty big advantage to his team right from the get-go.
And Mercury said ping is fixed, by the way, so that's good to know. That probably helps a little bit in team fights, I'd imagine.
Just love being able to see where anyone actually is now, as opposed to a full 3 seconds ago or whatever.
So we'll see too. I mean, you look at the comp here for the side of Cloud Gang. Not much different than what they were using, just on offense and now on defense again.
Yeah, this is their point B defense here. These Ryan, Zarya with the Junkrat and McCree. That long range fire from Lynx is going to be pretty key here, trying to pick off any attacking people from Blank, which is especially important because AAM has gone over to that Pharah, so the Pharah Mercy combo has come out. So let's see how well Lynx deals with that.
You also have Princess Nia playing the Soldier 76 now, so we'll see how the Soldier 76 can impact things as well on this first team fight that looks like it might end up happening near the room here on the left. Wallet scanning, take a little bit of damage, and then Princess Nia finding Lynx, but quickly rezzed by my wife.
Yeah,
Who is not my
Blank
wife.
split up really... Blank split up really heavily there to get a lot of angles on the attack. Princess Nia had the high ground shooting at a different angle, which gave him the advantage to kill Lynx. Lynx getting the counter kill for the revenge now. Both teams brawling it out, people dying on both sides. Here's a res from Blank. Tyson brings up Princess Nia, but AM goes down, Princess Nia goes down, and the time is running out. We're into overtime. It's just Tyson, the support's running around the point. All that's left is Leet now, and he's flashbanged. Taking it.
They didn't have a lot of time, only a minute, so you needed that first push to be successful, and it wasn't. They didn't even get a chance to build up to one of their ults. AM was at 88%. Maybe if you get that in that team fight that happens on the point for AM, maybe you have a chance, but now just 33%, and Blank goes up 2-1 here. Or sorry, Clout Gang goes up 2-1.
Yeah, and they've got 6 minutes and 27 seconds to make it happen. So, given with the dominance that they just showed with that composition, which they're running, looks like they're running again, I'm pretty confident. I give it like a 95% chance that they're going to make this happen. But, you know, I have it.
I wonder what Blank will do. You know that you're probably going to see that same comp. How do you decide to attack it here is what I want to know, what they decide. I mean, maybe Bastion will be a good choice here. Can put out a lot of damage, and then you also have the Junkrat too to add on top of that. That's a lot of damage from two characters, granted very little mobility.
Yeah, it's a pretty static comp. It really depends on how Clout Gang can adapt. The thing is, Clout Gang, if they run into this comp and get wrecked, they've got plenty of time to change up their comp and adapt to it. So it may work at first, but in a few minutes in, when Cloud Gang has changed up to, you know, a Pharah or a Junkrat as well, then they might be able to counter it, and Blank won't have that opportunity. They don't have any room for error. They don't have time to change compositions to go back or take losses. So here we go. 6 minutes, 20 seconds on the clock remaining. 33%. All Clout Gang needs to take the lead in the series.
Can do multiple dry pushes and just build a full 5 ults if you want. And with Bullet's Cannon now being on the Genji, that's an ult that can just change things if you build that up. So the barrier... Yeah, Fire Strike and barriers going back and forth, but the barrier down from Mercury early, that could be a good starting advantage.
AM is forced to move from his position, then dances around, and does some deflection with the back. There's a Fire Strike. Shots being traded on both sides there. Blank is actually taking the worst of this damage, and AM is getting hit from a couple of different directions. Fire Strikes and Genji Shuriken. They're really working on taking out this Bastion, but not a lot of success yet. Both teams just trading out, generating a lot of ult charge. Here's the first one on a Blank. It's the defensive Mercy's Valkyrie ready. And it looks like the attackers are swarming from every side. There's the first kill.
Tyson having to quickly use the res to come in. Now going to try and get the second res in. My wife having to res Mercury there, but Link's finding 2 kills. Bullet's Cannon gets the Dragon Blade, gets missed by the tire, and Elite will find Bullet's Cannon eventually. My wife quickly there to res. Princess Nia and Tyson, the only 2 left after they get wiped, and there it is. Clout Gang taking map number 3, 2-1.
AEM was actually left alive to nearly the very end of that team fight, and you actually saw him attempt to transition to the tank. Let's take a look at this play of the game from Mundy first.
When you look at it here for... This was where he gets the 3 kills from the mines. That was a big swing in that first push. That's what allowed them to take that really quick early push and then just snowball it into that massive time they ended up getting.
Actually, I think that was when they were defending point A.
Oh,
forcing it nearly into overtime. But yeah, I mean, still that was a devastating.
Right.
I mean, 3 kills with 2 mines. That's really good efficiency right there.
Yeah, you'll take 3 kills with 2 mines any day of the week. There's no doubt about that.
All right, so it looks like Blank is going to get the next choice of map. We're going to go to the escort map, as both these teams are actually undefeated in their division. So this is the deciding match to determine which team is actually going to be the #1 team coming out of the division. They're splitting maps here, and it looks like Blank has chosen to go to Dorado.
Well, the unfortunate thing, too, is for Blank is that even if they tie, the map win tiebreaker is right now in favor of Clout Gang, so they needed to win Horizon Lunar Colony in order to even have a chance or tie it. So really right now it's more for pride and trying to get that tie just to say, hey, we tied the team that's going to win the division, but we'll see them again.
All right, looks like Clout Gang is going to be on attack this time. They are in the red. Blank is defending first in the blue. And so we're in Dorado here. There's some pretty good opportunities for Mei ice walls to get used, because that that low choke in the very first point through that archway is a great place for Mei to do some damage. So I'm expecting to see that out of Blank once more.
Dorado, I think, one of the better maps too as well. It's not quite King's Row, but it's a good map.
Yeah, I mean, Dorado is a reasonably good map. There's a lot of different strategies you can use because the different points are pretty different in their layout, opening up different compositions you can use. I just said the word different 3 times in 5 seconds. Varied compositions you can use in different stages of this map. You open areas that lend themselves to Pharah play with some aerial cover, especially in the second point. But Widows are pretty useful in the first 2 points, but not as great in the third point because it's a little more closed in and easy access to the high ground from pretty much any hero. All right, defensively, Blank is coming out. Let's see what are they running here, Labosco?
Well, when you look at the defensive comp coming right now, very similar to what we saw them do on Eichenwald. AM on the Soldier 76, Princess Nia on the Mei, Tyson on the Mercy, Leet on the Lucio, and Spark on the Reinhardt. And that is basically the same thing that they ran before, and it was very effective for them. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this hold. So nothing different there for them.
No, pretty standard from Blank. Clout Gang showing their usual troll mess. Oh, they're going for the Mei strat, going up high ground to the very far wall there. It's an interesting place to hold. It's clever, but I don't think they'll get much use because the other team can just push the payload while they're sitting there. But Clout Gang has set up. It looks like doing a protect the president. No, my wife was just trolling us.
Well, and here's the thing too. They didn't see they had nobody up there to know that's where they were. Now they finally have that information because you have Lynx on the Widowmaker here early on to scout it out.
Yeah, it looks like Cloud Games can just go ahead and push that payload. Blank is forced to drop down to contest from the back this time. Both teams now just brawling it out. A very early kill onto my wife. There's the Mercy dead for the attacking team. There goes the Reinhardt. And Blank's unorthodox strategy is going to pay off with an early team fight win.
Yeah, when you look at how that first team fight goes, I think it wins because you're not expecting them to be up there for one, but two, you're not used to a team attacking from you behind the payload like that. You're used to using the buildings as cover and then having that little room to go into. You can't do that. You have to go up and then around in order to find any cover.
Definitely. Looks like Cloud Gang tried to get some early push, but then while they were overextended there, a Maywall came up to try to hold off, to pick off people. Didn't work, but Lynx is still cleaned up by Elite, and now Cloud Gang is down a man while they try to push.
Having to wait here it out, so Blank with this early opportunity to try and maybe get a stagger if they can. Although a good job backing up and just at least being able to poke from Blank. AAM takes out Lynx though. That's a big pick here early on to start off this team fight for Blank.
Yeah, I mean, Lynx had just come right out of the spawn room because he'd just gotten killed. He comes running out, eats a Fire Strike, then a Helix Rocket, and dies immediately. 5 seconds out the doors. It looks like Cloud Gang is going to continue the fight anyways, regardless of their being a man down. The respawn advantage, Lynx is back already. And now both teams brawling it out just in front of the payload. Haven't even made to the choke point yet.
Yeah, and that's advantage Blank, the fact that they haven't had to move to the choke point yet. And there's now only 2 minutes to go. Princess Nia finding my wife as well. That's a big early pick to do so.
Yeah, that icicle headshot is pretty devastating. The payload is now stalled out in the archway, while Cloud Gang says no healing. They're just sitting here. Oh, there's an Earth Shadow, but it's immediately blocked by a Ice Wall after, so no follow-up. Here's a Blizzard coming in from the May, and Mercury's frozen before he can get out.
And Mercury, I think that was ill-advised on his part because there was nobody to follow up. Bollet's cannon was fairly charged, but that was it. There was nobody else to try and do anything behind it. My wife using the res here and then the Valkyrie all to get the second res. Mercury charging in, trying to create space to get through this choke point. It's going to work. AM, though, with the visor gets one. The Lucio ult from Leak comes out to keep the team alive who's left. Spark finding one, but the kills coming onto the side of Cloud Gang as they are trying to clean up and give themselves some more room to push.
Yeah, Blank actually lost their Mercy very early in that fight, so they fought that without any support, and they managed to win that fight anyways, probably because AAM used that attack visor to take out the attacking Mercy, and that just turned the fight in their favor. Now we're down to less than a minute for Cloud Gang to push. Here comes a Riptide coming out. Doesn't get any kills, unfortunately. Mundy wasted that ult, but this payload is moving up, and here's a Graviton Surge. Surge comes out. Mundy gets the follow-up.
Yeah, caught two, but Tyson right there to res them again. So not a whole lot of follow-up to finish off after they get the 2 quick kills.
Both teams lose their Reinhardts in quick succession. Tyson actually getting the pistol kill onto the opposing Rein. Tyson in Valkyrie form now blasting away, gets another kill. Mundy goes down. Just 15 seconds left. Blizzard comes out, probably completely unnecessary. Could have been useful for this last 10 seconds if Cloud Gang managed to get anyone onto the payload in desperation time.
They have to hurry though. They haven't gone yet. They might have waited too long. They're trying to push up to there now, but I don't know if Bollet's cannon just gets there. That does cause my wife to die. Spark there as well. The one with that kill.
Pick from the Earth Shatter. 1 kill from Ballots. Ballots cannon picks up 2. Nice follow-up. Money gets that Riptire out and picks up a 3rd. Tyson does res one, but was killed. So no more support. Only Lucio left us to keep this soldier alive. Meanwhile, Cloud Gang is getting there with most of their soldiers, troops. Princess Nia does pick up Mundy in the back, but Mercury is res by my wife. But they come off with a payload. C9.
That's tough. That's really tough for Cloud Gang there because it looks like that was a fight that they had a good opportunity to win. Princess Nia using that ult when she did, I thought was really going to open the door once they were able to get onto the point and start to wipe some players. but just a good job by Blank to stay alive. The couple of players that were left, enough healing came out from the Lucio to keep them up and then eventually take that team fight, or at least push them off the point. But I think if that continues, if there's more time on the clock, we're talking about Cloud Gang taking that point and continuing on.
Definitely. So that was a huge hold by Blank, and let's see if Blank can push any further. All they have to do is, pretty much they have to take point A, and then they win this map and tie it up, making a tie, which would be a bit of a moral victory for them, since they're still going to lose the division based on tiebreakers. But it feels nice when you come out with a tie. Both teams will actually still be undefeated if that's the case.
Yeah. That's the funny thing. You can still finish your season undefeated even though you lose the division. It's not a good feeling, though. Yeah, sure, you're glad to be undefeated, but you want that division win. And looking here early on, I mean, Bullets Cannon on the Zarya, Mercury on the Reinhardt still, Mundy and Lynx on Soldier and the Junkrat, and then my wife, this lone healer, on the Mercy. And of course, win condition here, take out that Mercy early and then try and get everybody else out, and you can probably push this pretty close.
All right, I'm pretty surprised that Lynx has gone back up to the Soldier when he was doing a lot of work on that McCree earlier. But hey, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. Unusually, we're seeing Princess Nia here on an Ana, which we haven't seen yet thus far. And AAM up there trying to get those Widow picks from long distance, but it takes a lot of damage. Oh, here's the early kill. Money gets a kill onto Leet. Princess Nia goes on quickly thereafter. Rezzed, but it's still a 5 versus 4 advantage for the defense.
And you have the two sniper, well, he's considered a sniper in lead as Hanzo. We'll see how long they decide to stay with the Hanzo Widowmaker here to try and get through. They've pushed it close to the choke point, but they still have to get under that underpass. And this comp, it's going to be hard. You got to get through that Reinhardt shield first before you can even maybe get those picks with the two characters they have.
All right, Blank is moving that payload into the archway. Cloud Gang is going to have to rotate very quickly. Here's the Junkrat grenades filling up the archway, and Blank is immediately forced to drop back. And now it's going to be that standard grind fest in this archway. Oh, the Fire Strike takes out the defending Mercy. Huge advantage for Blank. Let's see what they can make of this.
You have to be smart here now because you don't have your only healer. If you are on the side of Clout Gang, now this didn't push through here. It's working well. AM getting Lynx as well. But Mundy with the big tire gets two to maybe help swing things back in favor.
Yep. Tyson does get a res picking up Princess Nia, and Mercury was killed as well by a Fire Strike. My wife is back into the fight now, picking up the res for that Rhine. So the defenders have their Mercy again, but the offensive Mei is Valkyrie in the air. So this is going to be a tough push. They've only got a little bit further to go. Grenades are raining down from that Junkrat, and Lead has switched off to a Tracer, but gets killed and immediately rezzed.
Big Earth Shatter came out from Spark, managed to get two. The res coming in from the Mercy and my wife. Spark and AM with 2 kills there, as just one left in Mundy on the cart, and now pushing forward is Blank, and that should have done it. That team kill there should give them the advantage, as AM getting Lynx before he has a chance to get even close. And there we have it. Blank wins and ties this up. It's a 2-2 tie after 4 maps.
Both teams undefeated still. Congratulations to both of them, I suppose. Although Clout Gang is still the winner of their division.
It's unfortunate for that, and here you see the play of the game as Mundy going in there, getting a lot of kills there, and unfortunately though that they ended up still losing that map, but he did a lot of work. He showed some really good Junkrat, without a doubt.
Definitely. I mean, Mundy got a couple of play of the games here, so that's a pretty impressive work from them.
So they're asking about the tiebreaker. So I think we're gonna, if Pimp is able to tell us if there is a tiebreaker or not for this.
There is not, because it's based off their map percentage then.
and that weren't even. So they were thinking that maybe there was. So we were right originally saying it does go to Clout Gang as far as the division goes. So there isn't one. So that's good to know. I'm sure they're not going to be happy with it, but that is unfortunately for how things go. Cloud will get that division win, and Blank will be the second seed. When you look at it here, Thenlar, I think we had a really good first matchup between these two teams. I mean, you finish out even. Nobody gets defeated, like you said, after the regular season is over. And now they go into playoffs and they'll see each other again.
Definitely. This is a really good map. I'm happy to cast it. The next pairing that we're going to be seeing is actually going to be two Division 2 teams. So slightly higher, supposed to be slightly higher in the SR, though. These teams were actually very in the top end of Division 3. And the next two teams we're going to be seeing were on a bit of the lower end of Division 2, or at least one of those teams were. Low Masters, High Diamond, once again.
Yeah, it'll be some good stuff to see. Oh, sorry, Pim, go ahead.
Oh, I was bringing up one of the differences between this series though is that Rocket Power is already in the playoffs, but Hydra OG does not have a chance anymore. So they're just kind of playing to finish their last games. But this game does decide who's going to be the first seed in Division 2, or well, the number 1 seed from Division 2 Group A. But before we get into that, we're going to take a short break, guys. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back shortly, so stay tuned for our last a regular season game on the official stream. So we'll be back soon. Hello and welcome back to Overwatch University League Makeup Week. You saw on the first stream we had a tie between Blank and Clout Gang. Next up we are going to be having from Division 2 Rocket Power going up against Hydra OG. And I'm going to make sure I have that typed right in here. Yeah. Okay, so some information about Rocket Power and Hydra OG. So Rocket Power, they are, once I get this info sheet up here, they got 3 wins, one loss, and 0 ties. On the other hand, we have not RNS Gaming, they're Hydra OG. They have 0 wins, 1 loss, and 2 ties. So they don't really have a shot at playoffs, but we do have Rocket Power, who are going to be fighting for that. This will be the game that decides if they're going to make it into that number 1 seed, or if they're going to have to take that second place one. They have at least clinched divisions for the clinched playoffs for sure. So let's get a little bit into Rocket Power's lineup here. So Rocket Power, they are going to be having one of their bench players, Tomatier, come in to play that Lucio, which is going to force the normal Lucio player, Hazukashi, is going to be flexing to tank in here. So tell us a bit, how long has Rocket Power been together, and how often do they practice, Nabasco?
So as far as for Rocket Power, they've really only been together since the league started. For this most recent season, so about a month. Rhyolite has been doing with Ghost Bear for quite a while, though, so those two know each other from a while. And then you actually have brothers on the team as well. So you've got some people who've played together, but as a complete cohesive group, not a lot of time. But it hasn't mattered. They've been 3-1-0, and they're trying to win a division. That's the important part. They don't have the once a week, twice a week is all they really get to practice, 3 times at the most. But really, it's working on strats and lineups, and they don't get as much time as maybe some other teams do. Yeah,
so we see the lineup we got here from this team, but then what else do we expect this team to run? Like I said, Tomatier's coming in. He's a Lucio player, and Mamaha's brother, Hazukashi, is going to have to get off that Lucio and end up flexing a tank. So what are we going to see from this team with their comps?
Well, judging from a couple of their other answers to the questions, I don't want to give away too much in case their opposing team is watching the stream, but they say that they feel like they have one of the best mercies in the division. So look for some strong mercy play. I would expect to see some Pharah mercy play out of Rocket Power to highlight the strengths of that mercy. And then whatever else goes wrong with that Pharah. So, maybe some dive style compositions would be would go along very well with the Pharah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think with having Mama Haha on Winston, it's going to help his brother, who's probably going to be flexing to another tank. They're going to have that cohesion. I mean, usually he's playing Lucio, so they're already working together there in dive comp. So if Mama Hama or Hazukashi is going to be, shot calling, which usually that Lucio or Winston's going to be doing that role. I think this team's going to do great. I mean, they're already at the top of their division. And it looks like if they have the option for maps, we might see them pick Temple of Anubis or Dorado. So both are some pretty decent maps for Widowmaker if they decide to pull that Widow out. But let's switch this over to Hydra OG. As like we said, they're not going to have a chance at the playoffs, but they're at least finishing out their last games. And they've actually been playing a bit longer than the other team, Rocket Power. So how long has Hydra been playing, Labasco?
6 months is how long that they've been together, and they practice a lot too. Say at least 2 hours daily is what they do for practice. Obviously, it didn't help them too much here in this league so far, but that doesn't matter because you still have a lot of cohesion, a lot of things that you can work on. It just means that there's more that that you can improve on, and from week to week it can change.
Yeah, and you're saying that they're improving. That's part of why they kind of joined the league. when we asked them that. This, they joined last year, and they like that it's a reliable scrim weekly, and they want the consistent good components. And I mean, realistically, if you're not beating or if you're not losing, you're not learning anything. So like you gotta lose a bit to be able to learn, and that's what the league's about. And it looks like they've looking at their SR, they're about like 3,300. That's kind of low for their division. I mean, you have Rocket Power, who had a bit over 200 SR more than them, and their division, Rocket Power, is the highest, one of the highest SR teams in their division, while you have Hydra, who is sort of pretty much at the bottom of their division, and it probably what happened is, they maybe had a lower SR player on the team that dropped them down, but they had a really high player that, was more important. So that's why I kind of bumped them probably higher into division, because if you see, their SR is even lower than the previous two teams that were on stream. So they probably, just had like a GM carry in their team, and it's part of what got them boosted into Division 2. But they're also playing as somewhat, they had a previous org that they were operating under for the beginning of the season. Now they're going back to their original name as Hydra. So we do have a sub coming in for them, though. Falsgler, I can't pronounce it. Falsgler. Anyway, he's going to be coming in, playing that Genji. At least that's what is stated as the preferred hero. But besides the Genji, we kind of see a dive coming in here with McCree. But I mean, what do we? Anything on the dive we're expecting to see from this team? I don't think we're going to see much, Denlar.
I mean, they say they like running dive, but they don't. Their roles for the team on their roster here is tank, support, DPS. So maybe Nyx will be swapping off a little bit. The rest of their team is a pretty standard dive comp: Winston, Divas, and Yade Lucio with the Genji. So let's see if Nyx is the one that changes off the McCree to anything.
Yeah,
maybe a Tracer would be the...
Yeah, I was gonna say probably Tracer, maybe Soldier. Playing that hit scan role that it's usually on this kind of dive. I mean, the meta is kind of moving away from dive with just how strong Mercy is, but let's see if this team can make it work. They're really into it.
And Thenlar, you forgot, and dive.
Oh,
that's important. But when you look at that, when you see that, that could also explain why their SR is lower and why they've had a rough season, is because they are such a dive-heavy team. Dive is really not what's in right now, unfortunately. So the meta not really meshing with their play style could be why, too, that they've had such a rough go.
True, the new meta with the Mercy is definitely not as dive-friendly as it used to be. If they run that Zenyatta Lucio, they're going to be at a slight disadvantage because they won't be able to resurrect, that first pick that they take. So Rocket Power might have an advantage on them there, especially since they claim to have the best Mercy.
But if they're going with dive, if they can really just take out, that Mercy right away, it's going to be, you don't have to worry about that res because you already got the first kill off. So hopefully, that's, that their plan, and I would assume so. But with how fast Mercy can move around now, and if they do run a fair, as we saw Rocket Power, they listed down that the captain plays Pharah, so I'm assuming we're going to see some Pharmacy coming out. Let's let these teams know that we're ready, and we're going to be going to Nepal first. So I mentioned, we talked about it. I said Anubis. We might see some. What was the other map? Dorado from Rocket Power, but Hydra listed Gibraltar. So, I mean, Gibraltar is another pretty popular map, I'd say, for Escort.
So we'll have to see which team gets the win in Assault, and then which gives the
we didn't see anything about any hybrid though, so that's I'm curious what we're gonna see, because that's gonna be the next map after Nepal. We are going to Nepal first, and we're gonna go into a hybrid map, Assault and then Escort. So teams, we let teams know that we're ready, and we're just gonna be waiting for the lobby to start up. But I mean, any predictions from you guys?
Well, I'm expecting Rocket Power to continue to be Rocket Power and skate their way and do well and get their division win. With a name like Rocket Power, it's hard to pick against them anyways, but they've been a strong team here throughout, and with the fact that Mercy is so important right now in the meta, when you can have that good of a Mercy, it really can swing things in your favor, especially if the other team isn't as comfortable.
Definitely. Like I said, Hydro G, if they run that Zenyatta Lucio combo, they're going to be at a disadvantage already. So, and if Rocket Power is the superior team to begin with, we might be looking at a 4-0 stomp. I'm kind of hoping not, because big stomps are never as fun. So I'm rooting for Hydro OG to put up a stiff resistance here and make this a good
Yeah,
fight.
I really want
love to see
them.
their 2-2
I really
draw.
want them to get the dive to work. I really like dive when. I mean, I was really trying to get my team to implement dive in season 1 of Overwatch University League when I saw the last World Finals, and that's what Korea just completely annihilated Russia with. And I mean, it was that's how long ago that dives have been around, and I mean, didn't fully really get utilized till the end of Overwatch University League, season 1. So right at the start of season 2, I want to say March, April is when dive really started coming in. It was that's all that it was. But I mean, I didn't mind the meta, but.
And that's just how it goes. The meta's going to change every now and then, and it's changed in a way that Mercy players are really happy right now. It's funny because some Mercy players were not very happy at the start of things, but I think they're pretty happy with how things are sitting now. And looking here so far for Hydra OG, they've got Falsgar on the Genji here, it looks like, as we get ready for this first attack. They are in the blue, Rocket Power in the red.
Yeah, Rocket Power showing that Fire Mercy combo as we expected, with the Diva Winston and a Lucio Tracer. So pretty heavy dive composition with that Pharah swap. Hydra OG are the first ones onto the point. Both teams running a dive, but an early pick onto the Winston with no Mercy to resurrect. There goes to Zenyatta. Rocket Power taking that early lead, chasing off their opposing number. Hydra OG forced to retreat back to their spawn, and a staggering kill there as well. Rocket Power in a commanding lead. Control point unlocks, and they take it.
Well, you give a lot of credit to the Tracer player, and Rhyolite really did work to get that point for Rocket Power here to start off. Just continue to get kills and hiding now here in the corner, sort of waiting for the team to come up and maybe looking to flank here from behind. As pushing forward on the left side is Hydro G. So finally coming in now is Rhyolite finding the Soldier and Nixon, getting that early pick with the help of Mama Haha, as that'll give the early edge to Rocket Power in this fight when you can take out that DPS. And Rhyolite just going to be able to get away here as his team continues to clean up afterwards.
Yeah, both DPSs here from Rocket Power are running rampant into the back lines of Hydra OG. Soldier was the first one taken out, and then they lost their Ana. Logistics Man has swapped off the Zenyatta, which is going to change their dynamic pretty significantly here. There's another
crouch spammed after his kill too, and now he just continues to get 2 kills in a row here. Gets Nixon. Respect was chasing them down as they were running up the stairs.
Yeah, Rocket Power is now sitting on 5 of their ultimates. Tomater about to have his sound barrier pretty closely thereafter. So they're going to have a commanding lead in ultimates here, which is going to give them the significant advantage in holding the point. I really don't expect them to lose it anytime soon.
Oh, and he gets the kill with the Pulse Bomb too, does Rhyolite. So early advantage again. This should stall out for Hydro OG here early on. It looks like they're still pushing forward anyways, as finally falling after a little bit of help was Logistics Man, and then Rano falling quickly afterwards by Tomater, and just Rhyolite just staying in the face right now, putting damage on, and finds respect.
Yeah, that's just rude. I mean, they're at 90% on the point here. Hydro OG is just going to desperately rush onto the point with everything they've got in their last desperate attempts. Barrage comes in, takes out follow-up, and there's just not much left for Hydro OG. They've only got 3 people on the point now. Here comes the 4th as Drew Spec drops sound barrier, but it doesn't save Logistics Man. And Rocket Power's got ult coming in.
And it's not going to matter, though, as they are clearing up here. You have the Winston Rage from Hakazashi to try and keep things forward. And then Falsker, though, with the Dragon Blade, able to take out Rhyolite,
who immediately is picked back up to continue this fight. But Hydro OG is staying in this fight better than I expected, despite that desperate push to get onto the point. Baz is the last one here, just the last DPS on there. Oh, now it's only just the D.Va who takes out, and Overtime takes out. Rocket Power takes the first round.
And it was just a matter of time. I mean, Rhyolite really had that one death only and was rezzed as soon as it happened. So Rhyolite was just continuing to put out damage the entire time and was pretty uncontested and was actually at half health for quite a while, and nobody just was able to take him out.
Yeah, it looks like Hydro OG is going to have to do something to deal with this Tracer. Nyx has swapped over to the McCree, but Logistics Man on the Ana is a juicy target for that Tracer. Unless he can land that snappy sleep dart, it's just instant kill for a Tracer with no mobility from the Ana to get away.
And this helps too with Ghost Bear, so this is probably a good switch by Nyx.
Definitely. It's going to give them... But Rocket Power is very rapidly out of the gate, but Hydro OG is going to take a different tack, going straight for the point instead, but they're getting shots rained down on them, taking a lot of damage. Here comes the dive, and an early kill onto Faz.
Yeah, and Druspect having to use the res there to keep him up, and you see Rhyolite getting a little bit of damage from Nyx, but Nyx eventually taken out. Tamater was able to get 2 kills. Hakazashi following up on it as well. And just cleaning the point up is Rocket Power, and they're going to hold on to it early on again.
Yeah, really good work from the DPS there. Ghost Bear was the all-star of Rocket Power this time. You can see him here at 82% of his ult charge. He's probably going to have Barrage pretty much early on, midway through the next fight, and that could be a pretty devastating blow to Hydro OG's next attack, where they're sitting on none of their ults. The closest nano boost at 54% as they come into the high ground. They're going to have to do some long poking. Oh, they get the early pick on the Ghost Bear, which is a really good advantage for them. But the res comes in. So the dive follows up thereafter, and Hydro OG is in disarray.
Have to keep up Ghost Bear, and now doing some damage after Nyx was able to take him out. But because of the res still in, gets another Rocket Barrage here as well, and just pushing back this Hydra OG, as they will now have to regroup and get staggered there a little bit as Care Bear got taken out. Some good shots from Logistics Man to get close to taking out Ghost Bear, but he was able to use the cover of the houses to stay alive.
You can see Rhyolite here is, he tries to get in there and do some cheeky attacking and gets picked off and killed by Nyx. So the 6 versus 5 advantage to Hydro OG. Let's see if they can take advantage of it. They're pretty even on the ultimates here. Comes the Nano Blade. Faz chopping away with the blade. Throwing Rocket Power into disarray, but here comes the Mercy.
And Falsger with that Dragon Blade as well was huge. Got a couple of picks, finally getting the point for the first time is Hydra OG. And now we'll see if they can hold on to it. Logistics Man trying to use the Sleep Dart to hit out of the air Meru, but couldn't do it. But his team has control here now.
Yeah, you saw the suicide there from Mama Haha to regroup with his team. In terms of ult now, Rocket Power is sitting on an advantage. They've got 4 of their ults. They were killed pretty quickly and unable to use any of their ults. So now they have the advantage on their attack. Here comes Earth Shatter with no pickup, and the dive is bottled up in this narrow choke.
This is something that can help, although here goes the D.Va Bomb in. Doesn't find anybody, but the flip came while the fight was happening. So now the ult percentage building up for Rocket Power as they were able to sneak and get that. And they're winning this fight here as well, able to fall Falsger as he was trying to just take out Mama Haha, but that's a very big disadvantage if you're Genji. As they have the point now and are close to taking map number 1 with 88%.
Yeah, I believe that was Rhyolite again with just splitting off from the team and getting that sneaky back cap. 5% left. Druspect is forced to pop Valkyrie to try to get onto the point in time and just makes it to force the overtime. Desperation push from Hydra OG as they rush onto the point, but an early kill onto the Ana is going to really hurt their chances. Deadeye comes out but gets no value and makes us killed.
Rhyolite from behind here, puts the Pulse Bomb on, gets Logistics Man with it, doesn't kill Care Bear, who then uses the whole hog, still putting the damage onto him though, as Rhyolite almost has him down, but it's also feeding a lot of ult to the Mercy and Druspect, who does get taken out by Rhyolite, able to find him after putting out that damage. Rhyolite having to almost fall here, keeping himself up, falling away from the fight, as he's just trying to keep this. He has built up another one of his pulse bombs on Mercy, dropped it down, gets some damage on, but Nyx with the flashbang takes him out.
Yeah, Hydra's desperation push here has worked out pretty well. They're on the point, and the Earth Shatter picks up 2. Pin kill. There's Rylite down again. Both Mercies just hanging out outside and healing. But here comes Truespect running in for that Resurrect. It's a long brawl on the point. Just the rocket power's at 99%. And there's a nice kill. Could be critical from that Deep Self-Destruct.
Just couldn't get behind the shield of the Reinhardt, and that allowed point to cleared, and Rocket Power takes the win. I mean, they had an advantage there, and if that Diva Bomb doesn't work, if you have Care Bear able to stay alive, they can probably win that fight.
Definitely. I'm really impressed by Hydra OG. When they make those pushes directly onto the point with a purpose, it seems their team comp works a lot better. You know, the first time they took the point, they just rushed onto it and grabbed it, especially after getting that early kill. And this time, they were in desperation mode. They had overtime. They were forced to run onto the point. And when they were forced to do that, they actually got a pretty good fight going. They collected a lot of percentage trying to capture meter. They didn't finish it off because Rylite was just darting back and forth in and out of the points, preventing them from finishing the cap. But it was a pretty good effort from Hydra OG. And I think now that they've seen what they're facing, they might be able to adjust their comp and hopefully put up a better fight in the next hybrid map we're seeing next.
You have to give a lot of credit to their 2 DPS players for Rocket Power. Rylite and Ghost Bear were both doing a lot of work on the Pharah and the the Tracer. When Rylite was going off, there was still that damage coming out, but then when Rylite wasn't, it had the Pharah going off and just continuing to get kills. They ended up making a good combo, and it's funny because we saw that they play mostly 2-2-2, but you can play dive with how Mercy is right now because she's so much more mobile than she ever has been.
But also Valkyrie, you can get a big damage boost if you use it, because it chains, to all the people nearby. So she has more use in a dive comp too,
And I think that's one of the cooler changes now too with the Valkyrie ultimate. Sure, there's the Resurrection still, which is still a big game changer when used correctly, but I think the bigger thing is when you have DPS like that and you can damage boost them and still run dive with Mercy like that, it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you lose out on the Zenyatta orb, typically the Discord orb, but the healing and the damage boost, especially if you pair it with a really good Pharah, is more than makes up for the loss of those orbs, I think.
Don't be surprised though if we see it very soon. You see teams running Mercy and the Zenyatta. I mean, the speed boost isn't quite as important in certain dive comps because you have fast mobile characters that it might be okay.
Yeah, it looks like Hydra OG is still discussing what map they want to choose. We've gone over to King's Row now. I think that is the choice. Rocket Power is going to pick on attack defense now.
Yeah, they at first we saw. You guys didn't see it, but us casters did. They were looking to do Hollywood, but then opted for the King's Row, the most popular map. If it's not the most popular map in every tournament, it's at least the most popular map here at the Overwatch University League. I wish I had a counter of how many maps on stream, how many times we've streamed. So.
I mean, and you see it a lot too in the pro level too. That King's Row is picked a lot.
Well, it has options for like so many different kinds of comps. It's not like, all this map's it's good for snipers. It's good for holding chokes. Like so you can have a Junkrat. You can have Widow Hanzo, Mei. As I thought we would have seen King's Row in the Division 3 game when Blank was putting that Mei out there, King's Row with Mei. I mean, Iconwell too, two big hybrid maps that Mei's great on. But, I mean, I'm expecting to see some Widow here. This is a pretty Widow-heavy map, at least in the first point. Or even a Hanzo, we could see.
Rylite's immediately gone to Widow, but let's see if that turns out to be the actual choice. So Rocket Power has elected to defend first, so they're going to be the team in blue this time, and Hydra OG will be the team in red on the offense. So what do you think the keys are for on this? I mean, we're not going to see as much dive on defense. So what do you think Hydra OG can do to make this attack successful?
Well, for Hydra OG, I think the biggest thing right now is you're probably expecting something similar. I'm not 100% sure, but maybe not. I mean, they've got Ghost Bear right now on the Junkrat, and Junkrat is really strong on King's Row. So you've got to try and either go around that choke or get through it somehow. And they have Orisa right now, but I don't know if Orisa is what we're really going to see here. I think it might end up being a Reinhardt. This wouldn't be too bad, depending on what you get, if they do go with a Reinhardt or even, well, Rana will be the one on it, it looks like, and Falsger is actually going to start on Widow. So this could work. I mean, if you can get that early pick as Falsger with the Widowmaker, especially if you can take out that spam from the Junkrat if he shows himself, you can have a really early advantage.
I mean, it's going to have to be 2 picks, though, because you've got the Mercies on both sides. Rhyolite,
Right.
however, is also on a Widow, the Star Tracer before, and he's got a Golden Widow gun. So we're going to see some Widow v. Widow duels here. Let's see how these picks turn out, since the Mercies are going to be both sides negating these picks. Widow's firing back and forth right away, and Rocket Power is holding the defense pretty far back here, while Hydra OG just moves to the choke point without being contested very much.
Care Bear took a lot of damage and almost fell. Team kept him up, but so far Falsger hasn't been able to find anybody for the pick. It's been a little bit back and forth. Hakuzashi finally gets nixed though. That's a big loss to start off for Hydra OG. They're gonna have to continue on forward here and try and, or sorry, they should back up, excuse me, after losing that pick, and that's what they're going to do. And Falsger, a good job from Hydra OG to, from Rocket Power to stay hidden and not really give Falsger any opportunities.
Yeah, Rhyolite was doing a lot of work. He's already got his ult just now. So here comes the wall hacks. Logistics Man is running into the back line with that Reaper, though, just blasting away. Manages, and Faz gets the finishing kill onto the defending Mercy. So everyone on the defense team, Rocket Power, is now falling in rapid succession without a res and without any significant healing. And Hydra OG takes a very nice assault onto the point.
A very smart switch by Falsger. He went to the Genji and started to do work. He switched to it right before this push started. He's already at 67% for his ult charge. That was one of the big differences. Found a right click on to the Mercy and Meru, and that was one of the things that swung the fight early in their favor. But now, of course, got to get through the streets phase.
And Rocket Power has swapped up their comp to what was working in the Koth phase there. Rhyolite on the Tracer, Ghost Bear onto the Pharah. Rhyolite hiding back here with the Tracer, going for that backline kill. Goes after Nyx, gets him pretty low, but can't quite finish the kill. But Rocket Power is jumping into this choke to contest it. A very aggressive defense position here. Can work really well, especially since you have that Pharah raining rockets in. Rhino has switched, or not switched, I'm sorry. Rhino is jumping up and trying to push back the defenders, but not getting a lot of success with it.
Diva Bomb out here. Getting away, though, is Hydra. Trying to get those rockets in using the Reflectless Falsger. Staying up, finds the right click and the attack onto Tamater as he gets 2. Still has his Dragon Blade up here, just looking for the right opportunity to use it. He keeps finding damage to get players down, and his team's still staying up, but they haven't pushed this card. He gets taken out finally by Ghost Bear with that damage boost from the Mercy. But his team's still pushing that card forward finally, and then the res comes in to keep him up. He quickly gets the kill on the Ghost Bear, and now we'll go into the back line and try to take out the Mercy, and Meru, who tries to go away. Big ult from Logistics Man to take out 3. The Death Blossom used at the perfect time, right when the Mercy flew in, and that's what led to those 3 kills.
Yeah, a really nice push from Hydra OG. They lost the Mercy early on to a backline pick from the Tracer, and now they're pushing this cart all the way up. Rhyolite is sitting on Pulse Bomb and looking for that sneaky backline Pulse Bomb blast. Hydra OG is going to get contested before the end of point B. Rhyolite's in that backline looking for that pick with that bomb. Both teams skirmishing around the point. Here's that bomb, picking up 2.
And Ghost Bear continuing to put damage down, finds Logistics Man. to take him out, and now going to clean up on Rano with Mamahaha as they continue to wipe the team here. But it was a good team wipe if you are on the side of Hydra OG. Nobody was really staggered, so you still have an opportunity here to get back quickly and try and push through the rest of Streets.
Yeah, and they're sitting on a decent ultimate bank here. They've got 3 of their ultimate. Care Bear's about to have Graviton Surge. Rocket Power only has 2 of their ults, and nothing else really coming up soon. Valkyrie is a bit close and probably will get it during the fight. But if Hydra OG is smart, they can leverage these ults into a quick win and take point B.
Falsker with the early kill there on its Matter is dashed in. Now looking to try to get the Diva out of mech. What pop that ultimate for the Dragon Blade soon. Ghost Bear using his ult. Ghost Bear has used 2 ults in the time that Falsker's hold on to his 1. And that has been one of the differences, I think, here too. You do have a lot of ults built up. You finally have Falsker and Care Bear with both their ults. Maybe that's what we're holding the Dragon Blade on for.
Yeah, Nyx used up the Valkyrie, unfortunately, so Hydra OG is not going to have that really big ult support on, or Valkyrie healing support on offense, but Drewspec is just about to get Sound Barrier, so 4 ults ready to go. Let's see if they can turn that into a winning team fight here. Here's that Graviton coming in. It gets eaten. That's really unfortunate.
So Falsker decides to just use the ultimate here, get some help with the beat getting dropped by the Lucio, as now going in and trying to get the only got the Dragon Blade, and then couldn't get Marrow in time before the Valkyrie ult was used. That brings Stu back up, and this could swing the fight back for Rocket Power. Falsker still dealing damage in, trying to use the Reflect here. Mamahaha on Rhyolite, no getting 2 kills, and he'll have to back away as his team has fallen, and now we'll have maybe one more team fight.
Yeah, Meru had a really nice ult and double res there, picking up his team and turning that fight back around. Oh, and a staggering kill onto Faz by Rhyolite. Yeah, Hydra OG is going to have to wait a few more seconds now. Oh, they popped the res for that one. They've only got 40 seconds. Here's the Diva Bomb, but no kill on that. Rhyolite can't quite finish off Care Bear who gets healed up.
Oh, and that might have killed him. Oh, he just got away. He got stuck on the mailbox there, and I thought he was going to fall, but the damage didn't get to him in time, and he stays up. That would have been a good early pick if they could have gotten him, but now he has a chance to put damage from the behind again. He forces
Meru is taken out early, and Rocket Power is losing members pretty rapidly on their defense here. Self-destruct comes out and picks up 1, but it might... Well, there's another couple kills. Oh, the B-Mech was in there as well. Good Rocket Power turning this defense around. No, Nyx is sitting on ult, but is not back to heal his team yet. Only 1 left contesting, 2 contesting. Baby Diva's down, just the Tracer to contest his cart.
They have the Mercy in there for Marrow to bring up 1 player as well, but Marrow gets taken out by Care Bear here as this fight drags on. Very smart res by Nyx to get Rano back into this fight. Rhyolite still dodging in and out to try and keep his team from allowing this cart to get pushed. As you have 2 gone on his side, and now a 3rd, he's going to back away and just let this one go, it looks like. Just puts on some extra damage, gets staggered, and that'll be the push there by Hydra OG. So they're able to do that, but very little time here going into the final section.
Yeah, both Mercies turn those fights around. First it was Meru coming in and rezzing the, picking up a res to even up the numbers on the defense, but then Meru was killed pretty much immediately after, and then Nyx got there, popped Valkyrie, picked up 2 reses, and got the attacking team into that fight.
Diva Bomb ult from Care Bear does find Ghost Bear, so good early pick for Hydra OG. Tomater gets downed by Fall. The right click as now he looks into the back line and was waiting to see if he was going to try and ult here, but he's holding on to it maybe for the final fight when they get close as he gets taken down low as his team's still trying to clean up. Beat used here to keep everybody alive. Falsger was almost gonna fall, and that keeps him alive as you have the May out here now as well. Logistics Man, Death Blossoms in, Rano following up with 2 kills, and Falsger just finding that little bit of extra damage here. They haven't been able to take out Meru, who finally goes as I say that. And now Ghost Bear was just trying to hide, but I don't think that's gonna work. And now...
Ooh, critical staggers there on the part of Hydra OG. Rocket Power is going to have to take this defense with 4 people, and it may not be enough for them to hold it. Here comes the Dragon Blade from Faz. This could be the game-winning ultimate if he manages to pick up enough kills, but Meru comes back fast enough to come back with those reses and the Valkyrie. So this defense might be stabilized now.
Just as you say that, though, the reflect from Falzger gets Ghost Bear to fall, and he's still dealing damage out here. It's just whether his team can follow up on the rest. He finally does fall, but he's still getting a lot of help from Logistics Man, who takes out Ghost Bear, the one person who really could do a lot of damage to him. Muro's still up, though, but very close to dying. It's just, can they continue to force the overtime, the reses to come back slower as they continue on to the point here. Death Blossom by on to 2 and quickly taken out was Logistics Man. And now focusing on Ghost Bear again as his team tries to push it this last little bit. They've been staying up pretty well here so far. Nick's using the Valkyrie ult to keep the team up as well, healing everybody as they just continue to stagger out the players on the side of Rocket Power. Good stagger here and just staying alive for Rocket Power, but finally finishing it off. Rano and Falzger with some kills, and Logistics Man just outputting a lot of damage on that Reaper to finally push and have the capture with the overtime meter on.
Yeah, Hydro G did a really good job staying alive on the point while overtime started. Their Mercy support, Nyx, had gotten killed pretty early on with Valkyrie in the bank, but they were able to hold on long enough for Nyx to get back to the fight, pop Valkyrie, start rezzing people and healing and damage boosting, and that was what really turned the fight around for Hydra OG. Really good job in staying alive, getting that Mercy back in there, and finishing that fight.
Logistics Man, too, I think on the Reaper was a big difference as well. Even though you had Ghost Bear on Vera, there's not as much room to get high on that last attack point. So you really can't get away from the shotguns too well, and he's able to get damage onto the one character he had to worry about, and he was just outputting it onto everybody else too, because they had to come to the point. So when you're Reaper, that's perfect. Come to me, come to my range. And that's what happened, and he was able to output the damage, stay alive with the not just the Mercy, but of course the life steal. And it worked really well there, but will it work as well on defense? They're going to have Falzger this time on Soldier. Haven't seen him on the Soldier yet, but he was a very good Genji. Dragon Blades maybe were a little bit to be desired, but still, you get the full push. That's what you need.
Definitely. Rocket Power now is going to be in the offense in blue. If they can take the final point with more than a minute remaining, I believe Hydra OG won't have any time at all on the follow-up rounds. They just won't get any time. It'll just be Rocket Power. So if Rocket Power can make this a fast push, they might be able to turn this into a guaranteed draw or win. So let's see how they manage to do. Rhyolite is showing that Widow. We're looking for those quick early picks from the Widowmaker, but Hydra OG is hiding pretty far back and not giving any sight lines to that Widow.
Looking from the low ground right now is Rhyolite as well. Out. He's going to use the hook to get up high and try and find an opportunity. Logistics Man having to Wraith form out. Finds a little bit of damage onto Nyx, but Nyx able to get back into cover and heal back up in time, and Nyx able to fly right through. Care Bear taking a lot of damage, but Rano able to get the shield back up. But Rhyolite there finds Rano after his shield gets destroyed. And this might be a fairly quick opportunity here, depending on whether or not Hydra OG can stay alive and back up in time for one more fight.
Yeah, the pick of the Widow there by Rhyolite was really key to Rocket Power's success. Hydra OG's composition here didn't really have anything that could contest at a long range. All they had was the Soldier, and he was pretty busy stuck behind that shield trying to shoot onto the point. And he still isn't, as long of a range as Widow is. And now Ghost Bear is just flying up over their heads with the Pharah, so that splits the attention of the Soldier.
Another pick was found there by Rhyolite, but everybody going up. But that gives Ghost Bear an opportunity to take out a bunch because all area gets Care Bear out of the mech, then kills Care Bear, along with the third kill with it, or second kill with it as well, giving a lot of room here for Rocket Power to move up and try and move this cart as fast as possible through Street's face. They have 2 on the cart, while everybody else is up in front to try and stall out, so that way they can get this forward. I thought maybe it was going to be a good decision by Hydra OG to wait and try and take that fight at the choke, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, they didn't quite have the opportunity for that. Oh, Rhyolite was a little bit too aggressive and then was chased down and killed by Rana, which gives a really good advantage to the defending team. They're going to have a chance. They're going to invest that sound barrier. Self-destruct doesn't get any value, so the defense is going to stabilize here in the middle of the streets phase. Although Rhyolite does come back for a couple of extra kills now into that back line. And Rocket Power's actually turning it around now.
Yeah, Mero with that ult on the Valkyrie ult helped turn it around, but Nyx countering with an ult of their own with Fallsguard and Logistics Man, both their DPS coming back up, but Ghost Bear finds Nyx in that Valkyrie form. That's a big loss, but still, Hydra OG's trying to stabilize here and hold this card in the middle of Streets phase as they do find a couple of kills, but Tomato with the boot on the Logistics Man able to take him out, and Rocket Power continuing to move forward.
You know, all that's left is this D.Va gets D-Max. Let's see if they leave him to stagger for a little while. They're leaving him alive for just a couple seconds to get that stagger. Rhyolite gets ambushed by Faz, which is going to be a bit of an not very useful stagger because the point is going to be taken, and then Rhyolite will respawn right behind it. Faz does manage to get away, however, so no big loss there.
They still are going to be able to get to the corner here and take the fight there. Diva Bomb thrown up into the air, finds one from Mamahama. Six-man Death Blossoms in, but he killed right away after getting one. Rez is coming in here from Nyx to keep Rano alive, to keep that damage up from the Winston onto multiple targets. Mamahama gonna get popped out of the mech. Tomato, the only one on the card, eventually gets taken out and up into the air. Ghost Bear just backing away as Farah, trying to stay alive, and Mamahaha just trying to get as much damage in to try and get that mech back. Got enough to get the mech back quick. That's an important thing there for Rocket Power, that they don't have to wait for the Diva mech.
Yeah, multiple ults were invested into that fight by Hydro G in their defense, and it worked out pretty well for them, but now they're at a fairly even. Faz has switched off to a McCree now, however. There's an ult coming in from Ghost Bear, which he's picked out of the sky after getting one kill onto the critical Mercy. Let's see if Rocket Power can take advantage of that. Looks like Hydro G's defense is going to pick up a couple kills with more ults invested and stabilize this defense.
And this is the spot that you want to do it before they can push around and make it where you're backed up into your, into your own spawn.
Yeah, Rhyolite's dashing around here in this backline as Tracer again. He does have that bomb. He's going to throw a stick onto the Winston and pick up Nyx for the kill instead.
Fallsguard the one now too onto the McCree to try and deal with Rhyolite. Rhyolite hasn't been as effective, but as I say that, he gets the kill onto Fallsguard and keeps his team in this fight and winning ahead. Rhyolite now fighting Care Bear as well. He's been doing work on this Tracer and finally gets taken out here. Can Fallsguard and his team stabilize again as that card pushes close to the golden box? Trying to deal some damage. He's close to a Deadeye is Fallsguard as he puts on damage onto the very angry Winston in front of him. Has him in the corner. He gets the Deadeye but gets killed beforehand. But the fight is going well in favor of Rocket Power on the point. Nyx just trying to keep his team in it. Ends up falling here as they are stalling out in front.
Ult's getting popped out from both teams here. Unfortunately, not a lot of value coming out from Hydra. But Rocket Power is getting all the kills from their ults. Rhyolite picking up 3 kills in quick succession. Ghost Bear is throwing rockets out as well. Just all that's left is Rano, who just got a res to try to contest this point. He's pretty much just wiped out instantly. Desperation mode for Hydro OG. They throw their bodies onto the point. Sound barrier invested to try to keep him and Care Bear alive. Care Bear's demech, and the respawns aren't quite coming in fast enough. One at a time, they're trickling just in time, but it's not looking too good for the defense.
Yeah, Rhyolite was able to find the kill on Nyx, so the Mercy gone right away. Not even a chance at anything to fight, but the spawns coming in on the side of Hydra OG to at least stall this out. It's 2 minutes 26. They gotta try and get it underneath. Diva Bomb thrown here to try and at least keep this point clear. Nyx quickly coming in, resing Logistics. It's a big res here to get some extra damage out. Angry Winston on the point here as using the Primal Rage was Hakuzashi, as Hakuzashi keeping the damage out on top. They're so close to pushing this one as it's to 1 minute and 3. Ghost Bear following up with the ult here as finally they get the point mostly clear, but Nyx on the point and quickly jumping right back in as the Winston was Rano, but quickly gets taken out. And it did get under a minute just in time by 10 seconds, so they will at least get an offensive push, will Hydra OG, so that was an important thing. Just get it under that minute mark, and they were able to get the job done.
Yeah, a really nice stall from Hydra OG. At one point there, they managed to get 5 of their people back onto the payload, so Rocket Power wasn't able to get those kills fast enough to keep pushing that payload. Like, they were at 2 minutes and 40 seconds when that cart was moving on the last slope right before the point. So it took almost a full minute for Rocket Power to just grind their way through the mountain of bodies that Hydra OG was throwing at them. So sometimes that works, right? You just throw enough men at the robots until the kill counters overload and they shut down, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Taking a page out of the book of Zap Brannigan, I see.
Definitely. So Hydra OG is going to be on the attack with 1 minute to try to capture the point and push the payload as far as possible. Rocket Power is actually going to be sticking on Rhyolite with that Mei on defense here. So we saw the Mei used to great effect in the last matchup. Let's see how good Rhyolite is with her.
And this is a map that Mei can be really strong on. And we're seeing Falsger here, though, on the far. This is another different look here, and we'll see. This actually might end up working out because you don't have a lot now that can deal with it. And Falsger coming in, getting a lot of early damage on the Mama Haha, who's going to have to back up. Now trying to shoot at his counterpart. Mama Haha does get sent out of the mech. Nyx with a big Hanzo kill with the scatter arrow, and then finding Muro, the Mercy, right away was Falsger, and continuing to put the damage out.
Both teams falling up pretty strong. Mercy's going down on both sides pretty early in the fight, and then after that, it's just a war of attrition. Both teams are brawling it out. It's hard to say who's got the advantage. Right now, Hydra OG's got a slight man. Nope, there goes 2 more. So now they're down 3. They're just down to the last man. It's just ran on the point. 12 seconds left. I don't know if anyone's going to get onto the point on time. Just Logistics Man and Zenyatta wiped out coming from the choke.
That's unfortunate, too, because it looked like they were going to have a good opportunity. They had gotten the fight even, and they had the spawn advantage. But it doesn't matter. They can't get back to the point in time, and time runs out. 1 minute and 50 to stop this team in Rocket Power from getting 33%. And that is very doable. This is, even though they don't get past the 33% threshold, you still have a chance here to cause this one to be a draw.
Definitely. I mean, that's the best Hydra OG can hope for here. But a minute and, what was that, 1 minute and 50 seconds. So 2 minutes, almost twice the amount of time for Rocket Power. Hydra OG probably can't afford to pull out any crazy cheese strats. It's just going to have to be good old-fashioned personal skill and teamwork here for Hydra OG. Let's see if they shake up any of their team composition on defense while we're waiting for this round to start.
Well, this will be interesting if they do decide to go with this. Drew Spec was for a second was going on the Lucio, but now switches to the Mercy. I think the Mercy's the right call here. And you have the Zenyatta.
Well, yeah, Logistics and Nyx have switched roles. Nyx was the support for the previous 2 rounds, and Logistics Man was doing a lot of work on the Reaper. And now Logistics Man is sitting on the Zenyatta, and Nyx is on McCree, probably expecting a Tracer, but it looks like Rhyolite's actually going to be on the Widow once again. Hydra OG does have a Winston this time to deal with the Widow if they stick with that pick.
You have the bubble and the shield as well. That can help at least when you have a Widowmaker, which is something that they saw last time, and that's what they're seeing again here. Hakuzashi looks like he messed up his jump there a little bit, doesn't get too deep, and Tamater gets taken out as he was trying to come forward to keep him up, and then Hakuzashi falls. Mama Haha does find Falsger, couldn't get back. Mero quickly using the res there, and then Drew Spec, the early advantage still, though, in favor of Hydra OG as backing up, waiting for their team as Rocket Power. So first push, so far so good for what you needed to do if you're Hydra OG.
Yeah, neither team really built up that much ults. There was a few kills on both sides, but it was pretty evenly spread between all the members. So no one's got any ults just yet. It's just a huge brawl on the point again. Rhyolite has switched to that Tracer now and gets that first kill. This is critical. There goes his support.
Ends up finding Nyx as well, and he just continues on. Just missed, and then finally gets Drew Spect. He missed with his physical attack, and then finally clean. That should do it here. He's going to go just up front and just deal as much damage as he can before his team ends up taking it. So a good push, but it looked like it was going to be a chance there for Hydro. Laid on the Tracer was the difference.
Yeah, Rhyolite. We're here to play a game from Rhyolite in the. Well, no, we're playing the game. Looks like the game's been sent back. So I would give a lot of props there to Rocket Power and Rhyolite in particular, because they were sitting on that Widowmaker on that second attack round, and they saw, and the Rhino was on that Winston and jumped on the Widowmaker, forcing her off her perch. So Rhyolite realized that, immediately went and changed off to the Tracer. Like, he wasn't killed, he just walked back to spawn, changed the Tracer, and that made all the difference on their second push.
His Tracer is really good, and Nyx had the focus on where the team fight was happening. I don't know if maybe he didn't realize that the Tracer switch had happened, so he never got to deal out that damage onto the character who, when flanking, will burst you down real fast, and that's what we saw happen. The burst happened, and it was too late by the time Nyx realized that he was down to, I mean, he had maybe 10% of his health, and that's being generous, and then got one clipped after that. So it's really tough if you don't realize that Tracer is there, and it's a good Tracer.
Yeah. I mean, Hydro OG was really looking great in that last game, compared to their first game. But you kind of saw progression in the first game. They got a little bit better, and it really showed. They got their teamwork going. They are playing with a sub, so it's he doesn't have the chemistry now. But I mean, he's a great player. Faz has been getting kills left and right with Genji. Making the switch to Pharah, he got a few there. But I'm still thinking that they can pull out a win here and there. I think just some alt management is really all this team needs, because there's been a lot of times where they've had they've overused alts. They use Reaper's alt, and they also use a tactical visor, all in the same push when it really wasn't necessary. I don't even, and there was one point where you didn't even need any alts, and they used them, and I don't think they got anything with it because they already killed them before the.
Yep. And then underutilizing alts
exactly,
too.
Yeah. Because we saw Faz, he held on to that alt, for the time that Ghost Bear had 2 rocket barrages. So, I mean, there's a point, okay, they want to combine it with Zarya, but look at all the time that they potentially wasted because. Oh, and also when the Graviton happened, it got Aiden. So all that wasted time was just it was literally just wasted time. So, I mean, there comes a point where is it worth really holding on to it? How fast can I get an alt back? Say Zarya is at 20%, I already got alt. Do I wait for if it was at 80%, I could see that but I mean there's still a while they were waiting if that was the combo they were trying to do.
And he could have gotten that alt back more than likely. We saw Ghost Bear the Pharah on the other side for Rocket Power use a rocket barrage, and the Dragon Blade was already there for Fazgler, and then used another one before he even used his one Dragon Blade. And I know that sometimes it can be easier for Pharah to build an alt, but still, we saw Fazgler doing a lot of work. It wouldn't have been too much of a shock to think he could have built up another Dragon Blade with it.
Yeah, the Streets phase Hydra OG came into one of their attacks with an ult advantage. They may not have had anyone tracking their ults, but they had 4 of their ultimates sitting there as they're attacking. They really could have come in there aggressively, popped a couple of ults right off the start of the fight, because they were close to the end of the point. If they had used those ults aggressively and early in the fight, picking up that quick, fast team kill, it would have been a really good investment of ults to push that payload to the end of the checkpoint. But instead, they came in with none of their ults. Rocket Power used their ults first, what they had, and won the fight. And Hydra OG still tried to pop in a couple ults too late in the fight when it wasn't going to make as much of an impact.
But the good thing about that for Hydra OG is those are things that when you go back and watch what you've done in these games, those are easily correctable mistakes. And I think that's one thing that Hydra OG can take away from this is, hey, we fix our alt usage, and we're in those fights. I mean, both the first map in Nepal was pretty one-sided in favor of Rocket Power, but the second map on Nepal wasn't quite as much, and there was an opportunity for Hydro OG to force the third map. So you get those couple of things corrected, you've got a really good opportunity to be really with a team like Rocket Power, who, from what we've seen, is pretty darn good. And they've got some really good players.
Yeah, and they are playing. I do gotta give them props. So they are playing with the sub, and that last map they were at least competing with Rocket Power. Not as much as the first map. Was pretty much one-sided, but I mean Hydro G. They made that. They did make a full push. They didn't get fully held, and I mean, oh sorry, it's just lost train of thought. No, but
Yeah,
having
almost...
a sub is just a really big thing, like that, because maybe their other sub is in charge, or their other player is usually in charge, like alt manager or something.
To be fair, though, Rocket Power also has a sub.
No, well, that's someone they play with, though. It's different. So that's one of their actual bench players. Faz is actually a sub, so he's on their team.
Oh, he's complete sub. Okay.
Yeah, he's actually a real sub, not just a bench player.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so that does make a big difference then.
Yeah, so like he's not used to playing with them in practices and stuff, as other people do. But so we do have our next map that was picked, and we are going to be going to Hanamura. It's going to be our 2CP map, and we're going to have Rocket Power on defense again to start it off with Hydra on attack. Now, we did see a Mei come out. Do you think we're going to see a Mei again here on Hanamura?
Well, it looks like it. Rhyolite is showing that Mei again right during the Assemble Heroes phase. He might not stick with it, but Mei is very strong on Hanamura with that gate, throwing up an ice wall and isolating some people. Could be a really strong strategy for Rocket Power if it's something they're used to. Looks like,
and the Torbjorn wouldn't be a bad pick here either, as well.
Yeah, it's pretty common. Oh, Rhyolite swapped off to that Widowmaker, so maybe not. No Mei strats here, unfortunately. Hydro OG is gonna. Looks like they're gonna stick with the Logistics Man on their support, while Nyx is gonna be on the DPS. So he's running the Reaper this time, not Logistics Man.
Looks like we will have Torbjorn though, so you do have the Torbjorn coming out. Can be really strong here.
And there is the Mei though.
And you do have the Mei. Rhyolite was kind of debating between the two, decided to go with it. I'm to see though. I thought Ghost Bear was going to build that turret up on the stairs where we normally see it here on first point, but electing to put it in the bush.
Interesting place for it. I do note that Rocket Power doesn't actually have a shield to protect that turret. You're not going to invest a Winston bubble on that. So it's going to be pretty easy to kill for Hydra OG if they have anyone that can get to it. Unfortunately, they don't really have any long range here. Just Faz on the Genji. Those Shurikens don't do a lot of damage to turrets, though.
Nyx switching on to the Tracer right before things get going as well. So we'll pay attention to Nyx on that Tracer. Haven't seen this hero on the side of Hydra OG yet.
Definitely. Hydra OG is poking at the choke point. Unfortunately, they're eating a lot of hits from that turret, and Drewspec is the first one that's taken down by it. So there's no Resurrect available for Hydra OG. Logistics Man is on the Zenyatta, so they're just going to have to wait for that respawn now. That's 30 seconds wasted immediately at the beginning.
And this is really hard for Nyx too, as the Tracer, when you are trying to go in and try and flank, and you have that turret to try and deal, decides to go in now, but immediately has to use the recall to just stay alive, and gets blocked off from the team because of Rhyolite's wall. Mama Hama gets Care Bear out of the mech. Tomater falls up on a Logistics Man, and then Care Bear finally goes down by Mama Haha, and Rhyolite eliminates with the right click Nyx, and it's going to be a wipe here.
Yeah, Hydra OG just decided they were going to straight dive onto that turret, invested pretty much everything in killing it, but while they were doing that, they were just busy getting shot in the back. Their Tracer had to recall and got walled out of the point, so that was a 6-on-5 while they were just focusing on the turret. If Hydra OG was smart, they would probably swap off to a fair or something to do with those turrets, but it looks like they didn't get the shots.
Oh, and right click landed by Rhyolite. Another one on it. And that takes Nyx out. Uses the wall there, still has the ult too, gets the Zenyatta, and now a very low Genji that he's using his left click on to get Fazgler down. And now it's just easy pickings to clean everybody else up. The turret taking out Care Bear was popped out of the mech. And now you're starting to see some switches, Logistics Man, onto the Ana right now. But you have 5 ults, almost 6, on the side of Rocket Power. And they don't have to use all of these either. They can just use one at a time if they have to and try and draw out whatever ults on the other side that there are. Only 2 right now.
Yeah, and pretty much everyone on Rocket Power is also sitting on armor packs now. 6 full ults waiting on the defensive side here. Blizzard goes out, but an early kill, Pulse Bomb kills the Mercy. But I don't think there's going to be much capitalization from Hydra OG.
No, they get taken out here really easily and are able to just use the one ult. They use the Mei ult, so they still have 5, and Rhyolate's already to 20% for another Blizzard.
Well, it looks like Ghost Bear also went and popped his Molten Core at the end of that as well. But unfortunately, Hydra OG is still at a deficit. Nyx has gone onto that Pharah now, and there's 4 ults on the offensive side. The turret is immediately killed, and the pickoff, but is resurrected. So here's the self-destruct invested by Mama Haha. But doesn't get a kill. A different attack strategy coming in from Hydra OG. Both teams trading out kills pretty much back and forth, with the advantage is still to the defense.
It's a little weird too because Rhyolate at the start of that fight, I don't know if he was AFK or what, but he wasn't moving. First death. And now this is going to give Hydra OG a chance. Good use of the wall to stop that Diva Bomb from Rhyolite, and is looking to output some more damage. Rhyolite stopping again here. But it doesn't matter right now because his team cleaning up here. Care Bear, the only one left, just putting out as much damage on Diva to try and get back into mech. Rhyolite blocks him off, freezes him, takes him out. So have to go 6v5 here for the last push if you are Hydra OG.
Yeah, he was actually trying to get himself killed there, and then the Logistics Man was healing him. Here comes the Nano Blade from Faz. He gets that first kill and starts chopping away at Winston, then gets taken out. Rocket Power is investing all their ults in this defense, because why not? That's all you need to. This is the last fight they have to win. Miru up in that air with that Blizzard as well coming out. This is going to be a very strong defense from Rocket Power.
Get out Care Bear, knock him off the edge using Hakazashi's Winston ult, and they will do the full hold here to start off on Hanamura.
Dominant performance from Rocket Power, very good use of those Mei ice walls. And Hydra OG did try to swap off to Pharah, and once they did, they started getting better, pushes. They got through the gates a lot better. They managed to take out that turret at range, no problems. They were trading kills more effectively. That's a little bit too late, too little too late, unfortunately, because Rocket Power had built up a huge bank of ultimates, and they were just rotating them. They're rotating them pretty well. And good ult management on the part of Rocket Power.
Yeah, very good ult management. Like we said, they had those 6 ults built, and they just kind of used them when they needed to. It didn't matter that Rhyolite was AFK for a second and died. He got rezzed right away. His team used the ults effectively, and then he managed to stay alive after getting rezzed throughout the rest of the fight until the match was over, or at least that attacking round was over. And now they have the opportunity to attack here, and I'm curious to see what they decide they want to do. Rhyolite showing Bastion. I don't think he's going to go with Bastion, but you never know.
I mean, they've got a pretty dominant advantage here now. They've shown that they're the better team right now, so they might pull out some odd strats just to throw off Hydra OG a little bit further. Bastion's actually not bad for punching through the choke point. If the defense is setting up strong shields, you just pop that Bastion out and just hose him down with bullets, busting out those shields, and then your attack can charge through the point pretty quickly. But it looks like they're not going to stick with that. Rhyolite's going to go with that Widow pick that he's been pretty effective with so far.
Worked for them the last couple times they've used it on attack, and when it didn't work, he's Tracer. See if he has to switch to the Tracer or not. Care Bear on the Roadhog. Fazgler, the one now on the Reaper. So a little bit of a switch here on who's on what. Nyx on Soldier 76. as the first attempt here for Rocket Power. They get through easily, and they're going to go around to the right. Speed boost from Tomater. The tank's coming around to the right side as they start to put the damage out.
Yeah, the long-range shots coming in from that Fire Mercy combo, but Rocket Power's tank line is going to start taking losses. Both tanks go down, losing the mech and Winston dead. But the Rocket Power is managing the kills to follow up as well, so it's still pretty even here. Rhyolite's going to be a force to be reckoned with that Widow. They're going to have to be very careful about what is heads up.
Rhyolite hasn't been able to find the kills yet, missing a couple. Fazgler, but he's able to get over to the big health pack and stay alive. So the only one really here right now is Ryan. They haven't been able to deal with him yet. We'll see if Rano decides to go after him. He jumps up there, applies some damage halfway down, but Rhyolite able to stay alive as he gets back towards his team. Puts some damage on to Rano, but doesn't end up getting anybody with it, as he's looking through those windows to try and find a pick, and he can't find one yet, as his team will go off to the left this time, where their Med Mama Haha manages to get the Care Bear, but Nyx to get Ghost Bear, and quickly trying to take out Nyx, who used the visor, who got low, but he's able to stay alive through it all thanks to the orb from the Zenyatta. The healing orb working there. Mero did res Ghost Bear, but it didn't matter. And now you have Rhyolite switching on to his signature character and Tracer.
Yeah, he's going to need to do some work on that now. Rocket Power is sitting on 3 of their ults, but Hydra OG is going to have 4. Juicebox is pretty close to the sound barrier, so there's a slight ult advantage here. Care Bear is going to have to be careful of his position, though. He was caught out of position and killed early in that other fight, so it looks like he's going to need to stay closer to his team now. That Tracer dashing around in the back line and being chased around by 2 people on Hydra OG.
Nyx dealing some damage on the players coming through the door, as going around to the right side right now is Rocket Power. Rhyolite and Nyx meet for a moment. Nyx putting the heal station down, avoiding the Diva Bomb there. Tomater able to get Care Bear. Got taken out early in the last fight as well. Didn't matter. The Transcendence used to keep Hydra up. Nyx continuing to deal damage out. Found Tomater, and Fazgler able to get Mama Haha out. Using the Lucio ult to keep everybody up. Nyx still dealing the damage out. Almost got the right click on there, but Rhyolite will use the Pulse Bomb to get a kill, but I think that Pulse Bomb was maybe a little late, as having to go out with the rest of his team. Rhyolite just trying to stay a nuisance in behind, has to be careful and not get killed. Getting chased right now by Care Bear, misses with the right click. If they can get this kill early, and they do, this can swing this last fight in their favor with 50 seconds left, or at least stall out for a little longer Rocket Power.
Yeah, I mean, he ran into Logistics Man, who's coming back from respawn, which is really unfortunate for Rhyolite, but really lucky for Hydra OG. Now the respawn's coming back in, Rhyolite's back in this fight, and diving straight onto the point again is Hazukashi. Last time he had the Primal Rage to pop, this time he just jumps and dies.
Logistics Man with the attack to get him out. Randall following up. Mero has to use the Mercy ult, but right now Nyx using the visor to try and keep his team in it. Tomater maybe a little bit late with the use of his ultimate on Lucio, as a couple of his team fall, and it doesn't do enough. Mama Haha just ends up going off the side of the map. Rhyolite the only one alive and is running away, and just gets back on for the overtime. But will anybody get back in time? I don't think so, as even using the mode to do the push-ups with Soldier was Nyx, as they end up having a draw here on map number 3 on Hanamura.
Yeah, a really good showing there by Hydra OG. I mean, they got stopped cold in the first round, but they didn't let it get to their heads. They put up a comp that they swapped up their comp a little bit, and then they set up their defense, and it worked for them. They got the full hold as well. Hazukashi with that ult and just pushing the Diva off to her death.
I think the one thing, too, when you look at it for the side of Rocket Power, maybe waiting too long to go on to the Tracer was Rhyolite. And he wasn't as effective, too, when he did finally switch onto it.
Yeah, I mean, Rhyolite switched to the Tracer, but he wasn't really working with his team as much after that swap. You saw, Hazukashi actually jumping in with the Winston to do distraction missions as the Winston. The first time he had Primal Rage when he jumped in while his team was doing a little bit of a flank maneuver, and there was a lot of brawl going on. But Rhyolite was kind of doing his own thing through a lot of that when he was on that Tracer.
Yeah, I thought that he I thought Riley wasn't as effective on Tracer as he was previously. I mean, there's a lot of times he was getting, he was just waiting out of position, trying to get a flank route, but like, really, the team didn't need to do that as much. I mean, you saw Hydra had no mercy again. They're running that merciless comp, and I think that's what we're gonna start having to call them that in this meta is just merciless. Is any comp without mercy, but they did it and it worked for them. They were able to get that full hold, and they didn't have to cheese it. They didn't run a Torbjorn, like Rocket Power did, or a May. So they did it, all money on the line. They just threw it all out there. But I don't know. That was a big change. They changed up so many different roles in there. South Falls was now playing the Reaper then, and then you had Nyx on the hit scan. So I mean, maybe that's just what their kind of needed was just, or their team needed was just like a change up in who was playing what position. So I don't know, I was impressed by them, but we do have the final map pick for the escort map, and we are going to be going to Watchpoint Gibraltar. I believe that's what one of the teams noted that they would like to play, and if I know correctly, I think it was Hydra. So expect them to run some sort of dive comp here.
Yes.
I'm thinking on Watchpoint. This is the map that they chose that they wanted to play, and we knew about it was going to happen before the games even started. So anything you guys expecting to see out from Rocket Power though?
I expect more of the same, honestly. I mean, it's been working for them. It didn't work towards the end there, but that's because they didn't go to their bread and butter from the beginning. I think if they did, they probably win that. They only needed to get 33%.
I'm expecting to see Rhyolite on the Widow for at least the first point because, the first two sections of Watchpoint Gibraltar have a lot of verticality to them. There's a lot of high ground that's difficult for the Tracer to get to without a lot of sideways maneuvering, and some places that are just impossible to get to on the Tracer. So I'm expecting to see the Widowmaker come out first for Rocket Power as they've elected to attack first as well.
Yeah, the Widow can be good, but we haven't seen him get enough out of it. That's the only thing that I kind of am weary about if you do see Rhyolite on it again. Not that he's not a good one, but if you're not getting anything out of it, why play it?
Well, Rhyolite was really good with the Widow on King's Row first attack,
True.
Recall, because there was no counter to him, and he picked apart Hydra OG pretty effectively then, and they remembered that and actually ran the Winston on the second attack and forced him off of it.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Winston from them again. It looks like Rano's going to be on it, and Care Bear on the Diva, and that combo has worked really well for them.
Yeah, I mean, they say that they're most comfortable with using a dive composition. So that's pretty much what we come to expect out of their tanks, at least, the dive tanks. The DPS, it hasn't actually been much in the way to support that style, so it's a bit of a hybrid composition here. But it looks like they're going to go with what worked for them in the last defense and Hanamura. I don't know if the Reaper is really going to be as effective here on Watchpoint Gibraltar for point A, because it's really open except for a couple of key points. If Faz can draw it to bait in members of Rocket Power into those close spaces, he might be able to do a lot of work. But if they stay out in the open, Faz is going to be pretty ineffective.
I was surprised that maybe they don't go with Genji for Faz, because that's what he's good with. And this is a comp that fits Genji really well.
Yeah, and a map as well. This is a really good map for Genji. Lots of vertical walls to climb up and a lot of high ground to jump onto and ambush from. The attacking team, Rocket Power, is actually going to change up a little bit. Ghost Bear is going to be the one on the Widow. Ryo is going to be running Doomfist.
Have to pay attention to that Doomfist. It's either high risk, but if it misses with the right click, and the risk is not outweighing the reward right now for them as he gets picked off early. See if he decides to continue to stay with it. Nyx finding a kill on the Ghost Bear, but Ghost Bear brought right back up afterwards. But the cleaning up coming from Hydra here, as Rhyolite does get a right click on, and he's going to go change now. I think.
Yeah, he's running back. He might be just running back to heal. I mean, Rocket Power has won this series already. You know, they got 2 wins. The draw doesn't count for anything. It just doesn't get reported in Battlefy. So they might be just playing some fun characters now because they know that they've won this. The payload is now moving. Hydra OG is not actually going to contest that until, well, they got a couple kills, and now they come down again.
If they get a couple kills, Logistics Man doing some work on the Zenyatta and falls. We said why have this, but it's been working out well. Gets on fire. The 2 DPS players in Nyx and Fazgler, they have found something that's working for them right now.
All right, some changes coming up here. Ghost Bear is actually going to be onto that Reaper now as well. So we're going to see some close-in fighting. Hydra is sitting on a... Their ults are all about to come up online. 90, 80% across the board. Respect just about hitting 80% now. So here comes the attack from Rocket Power, diving onto the high ground very aggressively, but managing to push his payload even though they've been losing all the fights. And here's the kill from Rhyolite. Here comes Rocket Power has got the advantage. Meteor Strike goes up, or not Meteor Strike. Yep.
You were right.
Meteor Strike down. Yeah, it wasn't Meteor Strike.
Went up and then came down, didn't find anything, but it didn't matter because his team was cleaning up. Logistics Man does get the kill on the Rhyolite, but his team is greatly outnumbered right now. He's going to use the Zen ult just to keep his team up. They do have the spawning advantage with where they're at right now, but Ghost Bear's Death Blossom, after the ult finishes, takes out 2, and this should get the first point here for the side of Rocket Power.
Hey, Ghost Bear built up that ult very quickly on that Reaper because he had just swapped that before this team fight, and then throughout the course of it, he actually managed to generate that full ult charge.
Chance now here to push through the second phase under the ship. The cart starts to come. Nyx, though, with a quick kill onto Rhyolite. He's gotten that 1 kill, but hasn't gotten too much out of it. Nyx finds 3, looking to try and take out the Diva now. They do get him out of mech, and now look to just clean it up. And just running at the team was Care Bear. Or sorry, Mama Hama at Care Bear and Logistics Man, and Logistics Man just will use the orbs to take him out.
You know, I think Care Bear's self-destruct there, while it didn't get any actual kills, it distracted Rocket Power enough. You know, they ran out in front of the payload to hide from it, and that's when Nyx turned on his attack visor and started shooting them in the back. So a good combination of ults there from Hydra OG. Unfortunately, it's a bit of an investment. Nyx is actually picked off right away. So Rocket Power's got that 6-5 advantage. No mercy to resurrect. So look for them to take advantage of this and start getting a lot of kills.
It's a big pick early on, but Rhyolite gets taken out by Care Bear to keep things even here. And Falsger, the Death Blossom, along with the charge in as they clean up once again.
And I was completely wrong. Nyx got killed and it didn't matter.
You know what, though? He was able to get back in time. It took too long for Rocket Power to get in through the doors to really do anything. And when you're Soldier, you can run back, and he got onto the ship, and he's in a position of power.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like Rhyolite's going to be running onto that Widow now. He's at 98% charge. Care Bear comes up to do a little bit of contesting and fire some rockets. Rocket Power is having some trouble getting through these choke points. So here's the wall hacks, and they just come charging through very quickly with the speed boost. They're trying to push through the defenders, get to the back high ground. It's a bit of a brawl all around, and kind of hard to just trading kills back and forth. Both Winston's doing a lot of work in that tight room. And this payload is just not going anywhere, however.
Yeah, this is a fight that's worked out for Hydra. Even though they lost Nyx, who got out of position, the payload isn't moving. And even though you have kind of a wasted ult there, too, from Ghost Bear, didn't really do a lot, but then he uses the left clicks to get 2 kills and finally clear it up. Care Bear just going back here now to stay alive. Fazgler now will switch. Or sorry, that's Nyx who switched on to the Genji. I thought we'd see Fazgler on it, but he stays on the Reaper. So now you do have the Genji here for this part.
Definitely. That payload is moving up. It's halfway through this point now before Hydra OG is able to mount a 6-second defense. Here's an early invested sound barrier as they charge into that the attack, but they don't really... Well, actually, I'm sorry. They do get 2 kills off of that sound barrier, just negated immediately thereafter by that Mercy, who actually gets killed by Nyx.
And Nyx finding 2 quick kills here. Well, dashes to finish off players. And now Hydra's still holding on here. They're showing a good second half here so far. Not too far of a push. And Nyx A good switch for him. He's to 78% too on the Dragon Blade. As far as ults are going, Care Bear the closest one for the Diva Bomb.
Nope, he was actually getting back into mech.
Oh, so
50% for Diva Bomb.
So 82 and 89 are the two closest, and that's on the side of Hydra.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that was critical there that Meru wasted the Valkyrie and was immediately killed by Nyx. Here comes the Tranquility from Logistics Man to keep his team up on the attack. Unfortunately, Nyx is out of range of that Tranquility and killed in the high grounds. But Faz and Care Bear are in there following up, getting a couple of kills as well. That Mercy gets killed again, and now it's a brawl on the point as overtime starts ticking in. Ghost Bear getting a lot of kills on the point, cleaning up that defense and getting that moving. But here comes Nyx coming in with that sword, chopping away the last few members of the offense, holding onto it.
And that's important too. If he can help clean up here at the end, he did get taken out, but he's at least stalling this. Maybe it'll be enough time for his team to get back. You've got a couple in there. You have the Diva Bomb used. That should stall for a little bit. Care Bear didn't get it quite in a position where it could maybe get any damage, but Fazgler still dealing damage in, staying alive with that help of the ult from Logistics, or not the ult, but the orb of Logistics Man. But it's not going to be enough. This will probably be the push through here in overtime. So another overtime to complete it. But they will for Rocket Power, and a chance here to push all the way to the end.
Yeah, every ult was used there by the defense in the desperate attempt to hold. You know, they use their self-destruct, they use that Death Blossom, didn't get any value out of it. Rocket Power now getting a couple of quick picks on the offense, staggering the defenders and giving themselves some free time to push this payload forward. It's all important for them because they've only got that minute 30 they get from taking that point, and they're down to a minute already. Pretty much 1-1 fight by Hydra OG will stop this offensive push.
And Nyx right now switches on to the McCree to try and deal with Rhyolite. Gets a little bit of help there to take him out early on, but Rhyolite able to get back into this fight quick. Fausgar and Rano combining to get 2 kills to try and keep Hydra in this one, but it kind of trades back and forth. But Nyx still able to keep himself on, uses his flashbang, and then eventually just finds the head of Mama Haha to get the kill.
Mama. A late stagger there onto the Diva, so we're down to the last 30 seconds. Rocket Power is going to have a few seconds to group up and charge. They're going to have to sit there on the payload because overtime is rapidly approaching. This is the last fight of this round.
You have a couple of big ults too on the side of Rocket Power as they push in here. Rhyolite doesn't get anything with the bomb, but then we'll find Logistics Man. Still have the Death Blossom as well that can be used by Ghost Bear. Finds Nyx here quickly, trying to get Care Bear down as well. As he follows him in as he goes into the mechs. Fight going on the cart, though, going pretty well for Hydra, is coming in as Logistics Man with the Transcendence to try and keep this one in favor of his team. It is in overtime right now. Jumping in is Hakazashi to deal some damage, and Ghost Bear will help fall Logistics Man, but Care Bear finds the Mercy. That's one of the big picks here. But right now, it's so heavily in favor of Rocket Power, it might not matter. Falsger dropping in on top, does have a Death Blossom, uses it, but uses it right into a bubble, but does find Tamater. Hakazashi with a good bubble, and that should be the cleanup here for Rocket Power, as now they push towards the doors to try and clean up and get the win here, as their Mercy comes back into the fight and uses the right click to add the damage on, and they complete it in overtime to get the final push. But it was very close for Hydra there. They just couldn't find those last couple kills.
Yeah, I mean, they got that Mercy early on in the team fight, and then they were just brawling on the point for so long. They had lost 2 of the members at the very beginning of it, which is a significant disadvantage. I mean, the respawn advantage, evened that out a little bit for them. But unfortunately, it took them too long to clean up the rest of the attackers, and Meru was able to get back into the fight, heal up people, generate enough charge to pop Valkyrie, and then Valkyrie just sealed the deal for Rocket Power.
I think the good thing, though, for Hydra, you can put a good time here. If you get a couple on your push attempt, you really are going to force the hand on the side of Rocket Power, because they're going to have to try and hold you for as long as possible. If you get 3 minutes, just 3 minutes is going to be enough. 3 to 1 minutes, especially with how long this first push is. can make all the difference.
Definitely. Well, let's see what kind of defense Rocket Power is going to run. We're seeing that Torbjorn once more on Ghost Bear. Rhyolite sticking on that Tracer to harass. And yeah, so the Torbjorn is going to be sitting here with a turret without any kind of shields to defend it. And Hydro G's actually looks like Faz might be sitting on a Bastion, so we might be looking at a protect the president strategy here, which could be pretty interesting for Hydro OG. I wonder if Rocket Power is really going to be able to do much to defend against that. They don't have a lot of long-range punching power to get through to that Bastion.
And even though this turret's in a pretty good spot and it worked so well for Ghost Bear last time, it doesn't mean it's going to here, especially because if they do go with that, which it looks like
no,
they're not going to, unfortunate. It actually might have worked pretty well against this comp. Regardless, though, the door is open and we get to see how they'll finish off if they can win this map here and get their first BAP win, if they can get a little bit more time on their push. Quickly take out the turret as well, located it, and Logistics Man finishes it off. So that's the good start here, as Ghost Bear didn't build up a lot of ult.
Rocket Power is actually just going to give up all the entire first half of this point. They're not even going to bother contesting it. They're going to set up in this back area of point A and just defend from there, looking for that full hold and the strong defensive position they have. A little bit of ult charge. Ghost Bear is now up to 45%. Mama Hama goes really low, but manages to flee in time. Hydro OG is taking a lot of damage, but Logistics Man finally gets picked up by Rhyolite in that back line, which is going to slow down Hydro OG's push pretty significantly as their tank line drops dead without the support from their pillars.
And that'll probably cause them to back out here. Ghost Bear now to 75% to the first Molten Core. Nyx is close, though, as well to the Dragon Strike, so that's going to be a big ult perhaps for them, too. And not a bad character, actually, against the Torbjorn. You can take out that pretty well if you can get those arrows onto it.
Yeah, Meru now is sitting onto the Valkyrie, so that's going to be very important for the defense here. The turret is going to get moved by Ghost Bear, who's now at 90% charge for that Molten Core as the attack comes in. Rhino jumps in and is taking a lot of damage, barely being kept alive by that orb. Faz is taken out by that turret, and Care Bear gets demeched as well. So Care Bear is going to be in trouble, pretty much quickly killed. This attack is stalled already.
Ooh, but using the Dragon Strike there too is Nyx. And they're still going in after this. He actually did get some value out of it. They do find Rhyolite eventually. Misses with the Scatter Arrow just a little bit. They should be moving that cart still, though. Through there, they didn't have anybody really on it, though. But they are in control here. It looks like they use the Lucio ult to try and stay in. They do have a little bit of a spawn advantage right now. But Rhyolite able to come in, use the Pulse Bomb, and keep his team in this one, and they clean up finally.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate investment of ults here from Hydro OG. You know, they put in quite a few. They put in that Dragon Strike, which is actually already back at 80%. Wow. But, you know, Care Bear threw in the bomb, the Transcendence was used, the Sound Barrier was used, and they didn't get anything out of it. That payload didn't move anywhere, despite all those ults, because they lost so many people so fast, they couldn't capitalize.
Ults are even, though, but you do still have the ult. That's something to pay attention to in this next fight. Logistics Man does find one of the supports, so that's a good start, at least early on, for the defense. That second Dragon Strike comes out, doesn't find anything, but Nyx with the Scatter Arrow does get Tamaru, who was the one who got rezzed, and the Molten Core doing some work, but everybody was able to stay away from it. So now here, this push should come through for Hydra. They do have 47 seconds left, and Ghost Bear is still alive. That might be overkill using the Winston Primal Rage. It will keep him off the point, but now streaming in from underneath is the Lucio. And they just got to push this that last little bit of a way. Good stall here for Mero to res Ghost Bear back up. And now this will be the all-important team fight to see if Hydra can keep their hopes alive of winning a map. Rano
very
in.
Critical here. Ult's coming in. Mama Hama is very close to self-destruct, but the first one's coming out from Care Bear, who picks up 2. The counter ult comes in and only picks up 1. Both teams trading out their deaths pretty rapidly. The key here could be that Mercy, if she can get an ult res. Nope, she is killed. That is it for the defense. the defensive there, and the offense team has got two of their members here. Care Bear gets back into the mech, but the respawns are coming in for Rocket Power. Bomb comes in, finishes off Care Bear. Nyx tries to come in. Here comes the sword from Faz. He's chopping with that blade, but he can't quite get a kill with it.
Oh, he got the Mercy, but she got the res off before she died. As Faz still trying to stay alive, they're trying to stall this out. They're going to eventually get that spawner advantage just because of the overtime meter going in, but it's a 3-on-3 right now. Rano jumping back in. Ghost Bear does take out Logistics Man. Beat dropped on the side of Hydra as they continue to stay on the card here, but they haven't been able to get enough damage in out of it. Card just kind of back and forth. Falsger finally finds Ghost Bear, who comes right back. The Diva Bomb gets 2 from Mama Haha, and Ghost Bear following up. That might be what they needed to help finish this off. Care Bear in there just staying on, out of the mech on Diva, and the Death Blossom comes in, and Rocket Power will hold on to it here, and they will win 3-0. So they couldn't push through that first point, and Rocket Power will get the win as they get the win on at least the last map. They already had the win on the game, but they end up winning 3-0-1 with that one tie.
Ghost Bear with that no-kill Death Blossom, but then finishes up with the shotguns, picks up a couple more. So the series goes to a 3-0-1, as you just mentioned. A strong defense there from Rocket Power. Their strategy of holding there at the very back end of point A worked out for them. You know, it evens out the spawn advantage that the attackers get at the first part of the first checkpoint. So good job there by Rocket Power in deciding that they were going to pick a place to hold. That's where the hill they were going to die on, and it worked for them.
Yeah, it worked really well. It was so close there. It looked like if there wasn't the Lucio there, speed boost, we're probably still watching a fight go on through where the ship is in that second phase. It was so close.
Yeah, I was really impressed with their defense, Hydra's defense, like through most of the map. You know, they forced Rocket Power to get a lot of overtime points. I think every single point went to overtime for Rocket Power. So
yeah,
I mean, it was obvious. I think after the first 2 maps, Rocket Power, had a bit more, chemistry together. They're not playing with a sub. They've been playing a bit longer, and that's really gonna trump over anything. Having that chemistry. So, I mean, Hydra still play good. They've been playing for a bit in the league, so I'm assuming we're gonna see them back. Maybe a different name. I don't know. They changed names mid-season, but they've been around. I'm sure they'll probably come back again. In Rocket Power, they're gonna have a good run-in going into the playoffs. They got their top of their division, so they'll be going in. I think I don't have the seeds up right now. There's potential seeds out. If you guys check the brackets on our Battlefy, if you go to our Discord, there's links to the Battlefy there, and you can go look at the playoff potential seeds. They're not going to be finished until the 27th, so the day before the finals. So if you're a player in the league, make sure you report all your games by the 27th at 11:59 Pacific time. The finals, or the not the finals, the quarterfinals and semifinals will be a week from today, starting at 6 p.m. Central Time, so October 28th. We'll start the quarterfinals. We'll also be trying to get an EU squad together. I know we've had a little bit of issues getting EU casting for the league. We're hopefully going to be locking down some casters for those quarter and semifinals for the EU divisions. But I do have the schedule at least I can give for the playoffs, which will be, next week. Looking at the list we got here. So for EU, we're going to be seeing the quarterfinals from Division 4. Then we're going to be seeing the semifinals from Division 2 for EU. Then the final schedule, which will be on November 11th, because we're going to be skipping a week for BlizzCon. The finals we're going to show off at 7 p.m. Actually, it's going to be 7 p.m. GMT because the time zone change. We'll have Division 3 from EU, and then at 8:30 we'll be having Division 1. Now on the NA side, we're going to be starting off 6 p.m. Central Time is going to be Division 5. for the quarterfinal match. Then a semifinal match from Division 2 NA. So that's actually, we might even see Rocket Power, since they are from Division 2 NA. So their division is going to be having a semifinal game on stream next weekend at 7:30. Now for the finals, the grand finals, we're going to be having Division 4 NA. It's going to be at 6 p.m. Central Time on the 11th of November. Actually, yeah, it's going to be Central Time. And the Division 1 finals are going to be at 7:30. So be sure to stay tuned next weekend and November 11th for the playoffs. And yeah, I don't know if you guys were around last season for playoffs. Really excited. So we'll get our casting crew. You'll probably see me in a suit wearing a hat again.
I remember seeing those. Yeah.
Hey, that's stylish. That's all right. It works out.
I can one up you and wear a tuxedo.
Yeah. But yeah, so hopefully you guys stay tuned for that. And if you're new to the league or you're new to the stream, be sure to follow us here on Twitch and on Twitter at OW University. Also go to our Discord where we have a bunch of information about the league, and you can ask questions, talk to people in the community. It's discord.gg/OW University. We are in the end of the season, so playoffs coming up are the last bits. And signups for next season probably not going to be going on until end of December, early January. So if you got a team or you're looking for a team, please stop by the Discord, post in the threads, find some people to play with, and just get ready for the league. I'm Pip in the Crib, and thanks for joining me, Fenlar and Labasco. I hope to see you guys again soon. So everyone else, take care.
Have a good night.
Have a good one, guys.